See if this thing works for a little bit. It's hella different going on the phone, babe. From on the phone to the computer, yeah, because I gotta learn how to share these things. Man, I haven't been on here for a minute, bro, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Congratulations to Terry Bunch Crawford, man. I gotta stop doubting this dude. He's just too good. He's too good. I was like in disbelief how great he looked and how great or how he was making Canelo look so mediocre. I don't even think Canelo really wanted to throw jabs to cut off the ring. He wanted to follow Bud Crawford instead, because maybe if he led with the jab, maybe he's gonna get slapped by check right hooks. But from every little thing, man, if there is a rematch, which would be the logical choice for Canelo in his career and Bud Crawford, in terms of paydays, in terms of all the belts being on the line, there's just pretty much nothing else for these two fighters to do in their careers. What's going on, Vince? Shout out to you, brother. I haven't seen you in a long time. Show on stage. I got to get used to this new layout for the time being, which is just using my phone. But yeah, man, Crawford was just too damn good. He was too fast. He was too strong. His footwork was on point. When he needed to stand there and exchange, he made sure he threw his flurries of punches. I knew the speed was going to be the biggest factor for him. Because when I was watching tape on Canelo versus Amir Khan looked so fast. And I knew Bud Crawford was faster than Amir Khan. So I knew he was going to be able to land on Canelo. I just felt like Canelo would be able to land more than what he did on Bud Crawford. I saw this fight 10 rounds to 2. I think it was closer to being a shutout than giving 7 or 7-5 like the way the judges had it. To me, like when I was looking at it, I was like, this is Bud Crawford's fight. I was telling my brother Speed as well that when Canelo fought that Cuban, William Skull, I saw the fight go to William Skull. I don't want to reward that type of fight, but I was like, Canelo couldn't make his fight. William Skull is making his fight, whether it's running and jumping and hurdling and doing all these things and not standing in the pocket. I was like, William Skull won that fight. For all intents and purposes, man, it was just Canelo has regressed so much. And I've been calling it for a really long time. And I had been telling you guys, and I was telling Speed, don't give him too much credit for beating Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. These dudes suck. Billy Joe Saunders, after he failed, with that whole nasal spray up his rectum, he didn't deserve to be a 168 champion. When he got, when he failed that drug test against Demetrius Andrade, he was never been that good. You get what I'm saying? Hold on. How do I expand the chat? The Mexican G goes, Crawford went toe-to-toe with Canelo and kicked his ass. I couldn't have been more wrong. Crawford whooped Canelo. Yeah, I agree, man. It was a one-sided ass whooping. When I was watching fights of Crawford, like Ray Beltran, when I was watching fights with him and Jose Benavidez, and I was seeing these two dudes have success against Bud Crawford, I was like, yeah, Canelo's gonna have success too. But there's one thing that Canelo of now doesn't do that of Canelo of then when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Canelo used to throw combinations. He wasn't afraid to get hit. He would stand in the pocket and now retreat. Now he's always retreating and trying to slip punches. But when you have a guy that has the long-ass arms like a Demetrius Andrade and Bud Crawford, he's going to slap you silly with those punches that you don't even see coming, that you thought you was out of the pocket, but you're still in his range because he has damn near the length and the range of a heavyweight. Yeah, bro, this was just a one-sided beatdown. And I was there was a couple of things that Canelo could do to make this fight a little more competitive, but he's not going to learn it with Eddy Reynoso. Not only is he not going to learn it with Eddy Reynoso, Canelo will never learn it. Because at this stage of his career, I don't think he even knows what he wants other than just making more money. Besides that, is he interested in fighting Bivol, where he has all undisputed? I don't think so. He shouldn't. He got his ass whooped 10 rounds to 2 in that fight as well. So anyway, man, when I look at Canelo's career, right? Canelo said a lot of things. He goes, when they asked him, I think it was Dan Rafael, what made this fight so complicated? And he was like, everything, right? He was everything. And it was true. It was Bud Crawford's intellect, his strength, his punch combination, his intelligence, the footwork, the punch creativity, the tying you up on the inside, lifting you, the defense. Crawford is so crafty, not just catching and shooting, but just parrying, right? Just blocking, just swatting down, controlling your arm, slipping it down, and then shooting with the same hand. That little opening where he slapped your arm away, or controlling your forearm or your bicep. Is just everything that he needed to do. He pulled it off, and it didn't even look like. The only success Canelo had was when he headbutted him and made him a cut. And even then, he couldn't even find any openings. When he had Crawford cornered, he didn't even want to take risks. I will not lie to you. In the rematch, if Canelo were to make more adjustments and be more risk-taking, Crawford would knock him out. That's the real reason why Canelo didn't take chances in this fight. See, Canelo, when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he took a lot of chances. He was throwing combinations. And for a really long time, Speed and a lot of people would say, oh, Canelo learned so much from Floyd. He looked so good. Like afterwards, Floyd taught him so much. And I would always ask them, well, what did he learn from the Floyd Mayweather fight that he wasn't already doing before? If you go watch the fight before Floyd, I believe it was the Austin Trout, Canelo had a head movement in that fight. So what did Canelo learn from the Floyd Mayweather fight? Canelo used to throw, in his peak, a lot of combinations. He threw it against Ponchito Gomez, Josecito Lopez, all of these dudes. As he got much older, somehow he got it in his head that I'm a Mike Tyson. I only throw one punch at a time and I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to bruise up and swirl your shoulders and the biceps like I did to Callum Smith. I can close your eyes because I possess that power in Billy Joe Saunders. Hell, I can knock out slick black fighters or that slick code style like Caleb Plant. So what has Canelo learned from the Floyd Mayweather fight? Because I didn't see it in the William Skull fight either. He don't throw combinations anymore. Even against Jermell Charlo, what did Canelo really learn? I told Speed, even though I haven't gone live for a really long time, as I was watching and studying more tape on Canelo, excuse me, whether it was William Skull, whether even the Jermell Charlo fight, I was like, Canelo's just way too comfortable. The Canelo of then would try to knock the block off you and chase you down. He would sit in the pocket, not always just take a back step and roll his head. Now he's too timid. And when Canelo is facing defeat, he knows how to survive. I seen it in the Bivol round, in the Bivol fights. I seen it in this fight. When the going gets too tough, he's willing to acquiesce. He's just willing to be like, you know what? This guy's better than me. Let me preserve my health. That's Canelo now. Like, I'm not saying that he can't beat a David Benavidez because those styles are flat-footed. But if Canelo's not going to throw combination punching and he's not going to set up his punches with a jab and learn how to touch opponents and create openings, swat down the high guard, do a little left hook, right hook. If you're fighting a southpaw and he's just pawing his jab, pull that jab in you, lead with your right. If he's not willing to do that, then he's pretty much done. You know, for a really long time, I never really liked him fighting at 168. To be fair, Crawford can beat Canelo at 168 because Crawford has certain advantages, especially his range. But Crawford won't campaign at 168. He's really just too small. Canelo shouldn't really be campaigning at 168 either because he's too damn small himself. But again, he has beaten mediocre competition at 168. Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, these guys aren't all that good. Crawford probably beats those guys as well. But in terms of all the other guys that are there, those like David Benavidez, David Morrell, they would come back down to 168. These guys are too fucking big. I would like for these guys to rematch one another, if I'm being completely honest, because it was still a very entertaining fight. I'm very happy for Crawford. I was it never ceases to amaze me, right? I'm always amazed when a black fighter fights a Mexican and they just make our best fighters look fucking weak and pathetic. I'm just like, wow. That's just the way I look at it. It's like, you name me one Mexican fighter that was like, oh shit, he cracked the black style code of fighting. You can't name me one. Not Juan Manuel Marquez when he fought Floyd. Not even Cotto when he fought Floyd. Canelo when he fought Floyd. Canelo when he fought Lara. Canelo versus Crawford. It was just like, these guys take more risks. They're much more dedicated. They have better game plans. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Is that all you guys have? Like, the warm blood that you need, that fucking fire in the belly, the black fighter knows how to tame the Mexican. The Mexican probably beats everybody else, but not that fucking style. And I'm just like, after 30 fucking years of footage, 10 years of studying Mayweather and watching Canelo and Bud Crawford's tape, do you guys not see what you guys have to fucking do? Listen, if you go study the guys that are wide-bodied like Canelo, Jeff Horn, Sean Porter, Mean Machine, Madrimov, Crawford is doing the same exact things in those fights that he did in Canelo. And I'm thinking to myself, when these boxers speak and they're like, yeah, I don't watch boxing, I don't watch tape on my opponent. Sometimes we put it in the gym. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And every other sport, whether it's football, every session, every practice, they're watching tape. They're watching for idiosyncratic tendencies that this fighter or this receiver or this basketball player likes to do when they cut, when they dribble, when they line up in this formation, in this moment. How do they start off in the middle rounds, in the ending? How do they conclude the fight or the round? Do they try to steal the rounds when they're down? All of these things, if you just study tape, there is a formula. And that's one of the things that I don't understand about these boxers, that they don't watch tape. Now, maybe they do watch tape and they just trying to sound like a badass. Like, oh, yeah, I don't watch my tape on these fighters. I just leave it to my coaches. Why the fuck would you leave it to your coaches? Your coaches aren't taking the punches. Your coaches are not there from the first person point of view. They're an outsider looking in. The fighter should be watching all the tape. The fighter should come back with instructions and bounce ideas with the trainer. Nah. We got to change to game plan B because A is not going to work. At least A is not going to work right now because this is what this guy's implementing and he's coming out this way and trying to walk me back down. So you always have to make adjustments on the fly. Anyway, Vince goes, he ran out of time and he ran out of rounds. He lucky he ran out of rounds, bro, because if they went to 15 rounds, Canelo gets tired. Canelo can barely make it to round 12. It was 13, 14, 15. Crawford knocks him out. Canelo didn't want to get countered and get dropped. He's too cautious. I agree. The Mexican G goes, Canelo had a little success with body shots early in the fight, but that's about it. Warp Speed goes, I don't think I say Canelo learned a lot from money, not as boxing. It was the maneuvering in the sport to stay the cash flow that he learned. Yeah, absolutely. Canelo learned the business aspect of Floyd, but he didn't learn anything else from it. We got to send David Benavidez after Crawford. Canelo failed us. But even then, man, it's like there was something that rubbed me the wrong way with Canelo as well. I think a reporter asked him if he would fight David Benavidez, and I think Canelo said no. I don't like how he talks bad about me. And I'm thinking to myself, see, the Canelo of old, like when Erislandy Lara went on stage and called him out, Canelo he wanted to fight him afterwards because he felt it disrespectful because Lara was talking his shit. Canelo of now, he's saying mean things to me. Oh, he's saying mean things to me. David's supposed to get on his knees and kiss my ring. Like, that's a different level of Canelo of then and now. Canelo would fight the guys that would talk shit. But even not even then, bro, because I have these videos from way back then when Demetrius Andrade was like, if I knew a little Espanol, I would fuck you up. And Canelo never, But anyway, bro, anyway. And like the way I look at it is like, and I was telling my mom and my dad when we were watching this fight. I told my mom after 2 rounds, I was like, Mom, you don't even want to come watch this fight. Crawford's gonna beat him easily. And then Speed, he was like, well, you already gave up faith. And I was like, yeah, dude, he's throwing the wrong punches early on. He's not gonna win this fight or make it competitive. And he was like, man, have a little bit of faith. It's like, I would if he gave me some faith. And you can tell based on the preparation. And I will probably say this too. And Jerron Boots Ennis hasn't said much, but I guarantee you, Jerron Boots Ennis was also piecing apart Canelo and sparring. I'm gonna just throw that out there. They haven't really mentioned or talked much about it, nor do I think they will expose footage. But I guarantee you, Jerron Boots Ennis was fucking him up. As for sending David Benavidez to Crawford, it would be a nice story because Bud Crawford knocked out Jose Benavidez. But shout out to Jose Benavidez, bro. Even with nerve damage on his legs and his longer arms, he sat there in the pocket and exchanged with Crawford. He had a better game plan than Canelo did with Eddy Reynoso. Maybe it's the clenbuterol, bro. And maybe since all of Eddy Reynoso's fighters are popping dirty, maybe that's why they can't develop another champion that throws a lot of proper combinations. Just maybe. Yo, bro, I got to get my computer up and running. David is younger and throws more combinations. Yep. And he's much bigger. So, Bud Crawford would have to chop down the tree, so to speak, aim at the body to shoot upstairs. But that long range to throw his hooks, David being taller and has long arms himself, he would just shoot it straight. And Crawford, I mean, I'm not going to bet against Crawford, but David would have definitely much more success because of the angles of the punches. But Crawford on Canelo can chop down and shoot up and get more like proper punch rotation on his wrist and kind of slap Canelo because he's shorter in height and Canelo has shorter arms. Those advantages would be gone against David because he's like 6'3". Canelo ran out of punch creativity and desire. Yeah, he's lost that for a really long time. Canelo only throws one punch at a time. The Mexican G says, even though I think Crawford could compete at 175, we don't want to see him against David Benavidez. I don't know if Crawford can compete against 170 at 175, but if he were, he should go straight to Bivol. Like, I wouldn't fight David Benavidez. You could potentially lose, and there's no belts on the line. Against Bivol, at least you get a shot, be undisputed. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to see Crawford versus Bivol. Bivol would beat him. Bivol has the footwork, the arm length, and the in and out bounce like Madrimov, and Bivol throws a lot of punches. Crawford would have no upside. The only thing would be to be like, oh, I'm going to be undisputed in my 5th weight class. I wouldn't bet against Crawford. I think Crawford is much more intelligent than Bivol, but that's when you're going to see size play a big factor because Bivol actually knows how to use it, and there's actually a size advantage. The Mexican G goes, I think David might be weight drained at 175. Nah, I don't think David will be weight drained at 175, bro. David just needs to stop having fat camps. That's it, bro. It's like you go back with Memo Heredia. Hopefully they have him and just stop eating, bro. Do more abs. That's all he has to really do, and he's pretty much set. And he's got to learn how to bench and do push-ups and burpees and all these things, bro. Because, like, I hope David looks to fight Bivol, but I'm not going to lie to you. He would probably get demolished 10 rounds to 2. A lot of people aren't going to say it, but David Benavidez is chinny. He, surprisingly, as aggressive as he is, he doesn't get caught with a lot of punches, right? Because he has that high guard, which he blocks. But if you hit him flush, David will get pieced apart. I don't think David even stands a chance against Better Beef. That's just the way I look at it, man. The Mexican G goes, David beats Bivol. I don't think so. The reason being, go look at the Alexander Volstik fight. And if you're really looking at that fight, look after 5 rounds. And you're going to see Volstik actually having a lot of great success against David Benavidez. The problem was that Volstik also didn't want to get knocked out, so he didn't throw more combinations. But he had proper punches, and he was already swollen up, David. Volstik, it's like if you go watch Manny Pacquiao versus Joshua Clottey, because Clottey, like Volstik, all he did was block and throw a little bit of punches. David Benavidez and Manny Pacquiao had more facial damage, more telling swellingness and redness on their face than their opponents. No, I know David won that fight easily on paper, but it wasn't easy because David also broke his hand. And all those punches that David was throwing, he was also getting pushed up against the ropes. He was getting fatigued. He couldn't find a lot of success on Volstik. And I think he only really wobbled Volstik once, and I think that was like early in the third or the second round. So while David on paper won that easily, in the ring, David, if you were to try to push for the rematch, still wouldn't get the knockout. So it wasn't as easy as the scorecards made it seem, like 118 to 110. Believe me, bro. That's what you'll notice the distinction. Now put that on a prime Dimitri Bivol that has, because Artur is a bigger puncher than David, and he has bigger knuckles. That's very important because when you make contact with those gloves, you feel it. David doesn't have singular punch combination. Like, he throws combinations. He doesn't have singular power, right? Those combinations are really good, but when you have a moving target like Bivol with that footwork, you're not gonna catch him. I don't know if I send you guys the invite, Speed and Drew, but you guys got to check your guys' email. Bivol has also been dropped. By who? I know that he's been dazed, I think, in the Joe Smith Jr. fight, but I don't think Bivol has ever been dropped. I know David's been dropped, and that was against Ronald Gabriel, but that's when he was 19 years old. Oh, here's another take. A lot of people were like, oh, Canelo's going to drop Bud Crawford because look at Gamboa. And I was thinking to myself, do you guys even know what happened or how that happened? Or why that happened, or why Gamboa was able to clock Bud Crawford then? And then so much has changed from like 10 years. It's like Gamboa at that time was mad fast. He was in his prime. He was so quick. He threw flashy punches, and he had pop. That's why Mikey Garcia dug Gamboa for all those years when Top Rank tried to set them up. Gamboa was also doing great against Bud Crawford, probably winning that fight as well. And when he dazed Bud Crawford, it was with a combination of punches. A lot of people were also trying to say that because of Madrimov, Canelo's going to have a lot of success. And I was like, no, guys. Madrimov has certain skills and athleticism that Canelo doesn't do. Canelo doesn't bounce on his feet in and out, Soviet style. Also this, Joel Diaz Jr. No, or Senior, Joel Diaz Sr. Whatever, the trainer that catches snakes and he has a left eye messed up and blind. Joel Diaz is one of the most underrated, underappreciated, and one of the best Mexican-American trainers that California has to offer. He's 100 times better than Eddy Reynoso. Okay? Joel Diaz is a great coach. He's one of the greatest coaches right now. And he knows Terrence Bud Crawford because when he used to spar with Timothy Bradley, okay? This guy is responsible for Bradley upsetting Pacquiao, whether we want to acknowledge the first fight. He also helped Bivol beat Canelo. I thought Madrimov beat Bud Crawford when they fought at 154. But be that as it may, Joel Diaz is 100 times better. He's more of a better strategist. He can cultivate a lot of fighters. And he's an ex-boxer himself. The dude's amazing. The Mexican G goes, my bad, bro. I mean, he got rocked. My mistake. Yeah, no, Joe Smith Jr. had a hell of a punch, bro. And he did rock Bivol. I remember that. Vince goes, he got dropped when he was 6 years old. Oh, man. No, I hear you, bro. Hey, yo, Vince, on a side topic, bro, what you think about the 49ers? Man, I got to clear this cough. See if Vince is still here. What you think about the 49ers, Vince? See if my boy Vince is still here. Can I borrow the chair right there just for the time being? But yeah, man, just a little recap. I'm extremely proud of Crawford, man. Crawford, I was amazed. I was simply amazed. I was just like, wow. Like what I was watching, I was just in shock of everything. Of everything. Oscar Valdez being trained by Eddy Reynoso. When Oscar Valdez fought Shakur Stevenson, Valdez had a better performance than Canelo had against Bud. And Canelo is a better fighter overall than Valdez. But Valdez possesses 3-4 things that Canelo doesn't do. Athleticism, a willingness to die in the ring. He has better... dude, there's just if Valdez wasn't so limited to his short arms and stature and height, right, would be a way better fucking fighter than Canelo. There were so many things. ¿Qué son estas vitaminas? It's like amino acids. Vince goes, man, they looking good, especially after that close win versus New Orleans. Mac 10, oh shit. I think Purdy should rest the next 2 weeks so Mac Jones can go against the Jags revenge game. Look, man, I'm going to be honest with you, Vince. I was telling my boy Drew, hopefully he's on here. I was telling Drew, Mac Jones is a really good backup. In fact, he shouldn't be a backup. He should be a starter. This guy, in the NFL, there's only a certain teams that develop quarterbacks properly. One of them is the Green Bay Packers. When Oscar Valdez, when Brett Favre was a starter for 4 years, Aaron Rodgers sat the bench. After his rookie deal, then they made him his starter. When Aaron Rodgers was winning all those MVPs and they drafted Jordan Love, he sat on the bench for basically 3-4 years himself. Learned under Aaron Rodgers. This is how you develop a quarterback. Look at the Niners, Trey Lance. Trey Lance was a project. He's supposed to sit the bench for 4 to 5 years because now he's going to be 24, 25. How many 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds do you guys know that you'll give the keys to a $1 billion industry? There's not many 19 or 20-year-olds that you would give that responsibility to. So why would we give it to a young quarterback in Trey Lance who didn't play in his COVID year and he played for a North Dakota State team? Anyway. All right. Long story short, Mac Jones is a good QB. Zach Wilson, that was drafted by the Jets, and I think he might be with the Broncos or the Dolphins. It's also a really good QB. We can't give up on these players. Even Trey Lance now at age 25 might just be a good QB. And if you give these kids knowledge and game and you let them time to develop and mature and wise up and read schemes and study, don't be surprised how successful they could be. The Mexican G goes, I couldn't believe it either. Canelo got rocked and even stopped trying in the later rounds. Oscar Valdez is a trash fighter. Sucks about the George Kittle injury. Didn't Oscar Valdez lose to Navarrete? Niners could have saved money if they weren't. Sorry, there's this money dollar icon. If they went Mac Jones free agent deal. Interesting. So don't pay Brock Purdy but sign Mac Jones. I would say yes, but what Brock Purdy brings, right, is vital. I'm not saying Mac Jones, you're going to save and win all these games, but you won't win a Super Bowl with Mac Jones. You could with Brock Purdy. Mac Jones might get you to the playoffs, right? But what Brock Purdy possesses Not only is he a gunslinger, but he's extremely athletic and he can buy you time with his footwork. And he has anticipation and experience. If it wasn't for Brock Purdy, Kyle and John Lynch might not have a job. So while you will save money, you also spent it on guys like Debo and Brandon Ayuk, and they're non-existent. So Brock Purdy deserves all that money and praise, because if it weren't for Brock Purdy, we wouldn't even be like in the conversation of being a contender and deem so much respect. Mexican G goes, what do you guys think about Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled? Vince goes, just like a pro boxer, a rookie QB needs the baby steps before going against the big boys. I agree. Nah, Purdy is the guy. Yeah, I agree. Purdy is definitely the guy. The Mexican G goes, what do you guys think about Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled? Honestly, I haven't really done the research. I don't know what he said or what he didn't say. I do know that there was some comments that he might have said in regards to the whole Charlie Kirk situation. I don't know what he said, like word for word. I don't even know the overall like conclusion, other than that, people just wanted to get him out because he's made some comments, but I don't really know what those comments were. If you can quote them, I'll have my thoughts. But I'm gonna say this about the whole Charlie Kirk situation, man. It's we're always talking about freedom of speech, right? And I love freedom of speech, but what I'm gonna say is I can't just walk down the street and just say the N word and not expect someone to be like, hey, don't call me that. Yo, what the fuck are you doing? Hey, you all right in the head? If I said it to a black person, they might just fucking pop me in my mouth. And I might just get into a fight. So while you have the freedom to say anything that you want, sure, you can say whatever the fuck you want. But there's always some consequences. So that goes for Charlie Kirk. That goes for Jimmy Kimmel. If you're going to spew hatred, if you're going to say things that are controversial, right? Expect a consequence. After every action, there's a reaction. You get what I'm saying? So, like, Charlie, watch your mouth, right? Jimmy Kimmel, watch your mouth. John F. Kennedy was one of the first presidents to be assassinated, right? Sure, there was Abraham Lincoln and all these characters. Well, these human beings, sorry, not characters. And when they raised their voice and spoke, I have newspaper articles. When I went to the John F. Kennedy Museum where Lee Harvey Oswald was at, and he blew the brains of John F. Kennedy, the Texas Tribune newspapers, they had like these oaths and testaments. JF Kennedy, don't come here. Texas don't want your policy. We don't need you. There's like a whole lot of things of warning shots, basically saying, don't come here or else. He went there and they killed him. Same thing with Charlie. Be careful what you say. Right? And he got. A shot to the carotid. My thing is this. Anytime that I speak loosely or whatever the case may be, I always do it with the intent of one thing. Anything that I do, I always gotta make it back home to my family. So I'm always gonna be extremely cautious. Now, I'm a nobody in regards to like people that have millions of subs and all these things. But once you get to that level, you gotta do everything you can to make it back to your family. You gotta do and take the extra precautions. And he thought he was untouchable. They showed him otherwise. That's all I'm going to say in regards to that applies to Charlie and that applies to Jimmy Kimmel and all these people that leave comments on social media and stuff like that. You're leaving a digital trace. And I don't feel sorry for people that repost certain things and then they get fired because of it. Watch your fucking mouth. That's all I'm going to say. Watch your mouth. Think before you speak. Think before you type. That's all I will say in regards to that. So I don't know exactly what Jimmy said, nor do I really care. I'm not going to cry for millionaires. That's shit. Vince goes, I'm headed to Selena's right now, bro. Catch me outside. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Vince? Like you gotta be careful, man. You just gotta be careful. Look, hold on. Okay, so which one I'm supposed to take? The two orange ones? I'm not taking 3 in one shot. That's crazy. The white one in. Okay, what's this white one? An Advil or what? XL3, guys. So if I'm poisoned, she gave me a white pill XL3, an XL3. All right. That one's for the cocktail. It's fucking last. What's up, Drew?
Oh
Yo,
shit.
Drew, what's up, my boy?
Hey, let me get on through my laptop instead. I'm on my phone.
Okay, for sure. Yeah,
Let me pop
no
in that
worries,
thing.
bro. I was trying to run it through my laptop so I can play you guys some visuals in the back, but I think I gotta
Oh,
get
okay.
my laptop fixed up, bro, because it was like loading, it was rebooting and refreshing, almost like it wanted to crash. So I just
Oh
run it
yeah.
through my iPhone and stuff.
Nice, bro. Yeah,
No, it's not nice. It's the opposite of nice, actually.
Oh, I thought you thought of a solution. That's why. But
No.
hold on. Uh, I hope you see me. I'm in my emails right now. Hold up. But yeah, man, I'm surprised you went live. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no,
But
I've been meaning to go live for a couple of days, but to be honest with you, bro, it's like I like boxing. I like talking about boxing, but more like private, bro. Just like between you and me and shit. You know what I mean? It's not like so much that
you
I
see me?
always want to go live and do
Oh
these
shit.
things. Don't get me wrong, like building a community is really cool and all these things, but like it does take a little bit of time. And right now I just gotta focus, I gotta focus. But yo, speed, mic check real quick,
Yep.
bro.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Speed. Drew, you guys there?
I'm here. You see me? I mean, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm right here, homie Ricky. Good even fall to you, Dream. Good even fall to one and all. We're here, homie.
Nice. Right on, man. I just want to say shout out to you, Vince, the Mexican G, Dream Speed. Thank you guys for hopping on, man. We haven't been on for 6 months. I apologize for that. I said I'm gonna try to make good content. I said that I was gonna try to get an interview or some sessions with Ruben Villa, but slowly and surely there's been a couple of changes to the work schedule to life. So I just had to make sure that keeping the ball rolling, so to speak, And so I haven't really had time, nor have I really made time to do those things, but I plan to. I said I'm gonna do something, so I'm gonna stick to my word. So I still plan to reaching out to him. I just haven't of late. But I don't know how active we'll be when it comes down to lives. Boxing overall for me, it hasn't really been extremely motivating. Like, oh, I watched the fight and I want to talk about it. There's only been 1 or 2 fights this year that has really had that inspiration and where I felt aspired to like talk about it. And that was what Crawford did in challenging himself, but also Lester Martinez versus Billy. When the world is watching, when 48 million people, when money is being thrown, when there's incentives and knockout bonuses and 70,000 people in a stadium fucking fight, you leave it all in the ring like Christian and Billy, the Frenchman, versus Lester Martinez, the Guatemalan. That was amazing. You don't see many fights like that. That was great. Even the undercard was fantastic. There was Adams versus Bohachuk. Adams is a fucking stud, bro. I've never really seen him. I've only seen him fight a few times. But when I saw him piece apart Bohachuk, I was thinking to myself, yeah, Virgil, you might be a little overrated.
Wait. He pieced apart Bohachuk.
Pieced apart, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Really? I did not see that fight.
that was a rematch,
You
though.
should go watch it. Like, it was incredible. And I didn't even know he was from California.
Yeah. Yeah, he hurt
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
there you
Bohachuk.
it was
go.
incredible.
California
So,
versus Texas.
yeah, those fights were just like shocking to me, bro. Like Christian and Billy and Lester Martinez. I
Yeah,
was telling everybody at work, like
great
that
fight.
fight is gonna steal the show. That's the
Mm-hmm.
fight to watch, and it lived up to it. I was just, I knew. I'll say this. when it came down to the main event, I knew this fight was going to be tricky for Canelo. But I thought Canelo would solve the riddle of fighting Terrence Crawford. Now, I was always telling you guys this. When Manny Pacquiao was moving up all these weight classes, what made Manny Pacquiao successful? Three things: his in and out footwork, his combination punches, and his two would come at you like a fucking laser. And he was bah, two, chin checked you. And he was dropping all of these dudes. Stopped Cotto in the 9th or 11th round, beat David Diaz, was beating all these dudes. Rapid
Wait,
with combinations,
he
with
beat
footwork.
David the S.
Yeah, David Diaz. I don't know if you remember him. I think
David,
that was his
hey,
first fight at
David,
126 or 130.
David the S.
Yeah. I get it, bro. You're a funny guy. No. So that's what Pacquiao was doing. When Canelo was beating up all these larger men at knocking out Kovalev, beating all these dudes at 168 as a smaller man, he was doing it with his speed. Not of his footwork, but his hand speed. And that's why he was able to catch these dudes. And he has an amazing chin. Same thing when Crawford was moving up from 135 and knocking out all these dudes at 140, 147. He was doing it with speed, footwork, everything, and that dog in him. Bro, when he fought Canelo, he was the much faster fighter. Much more, he was better than Canelo at everything. Everything. Defense, blocking, punch creativity, taking more risks. Anything that Canelo said, Crawford had an answer to. For example, if they said, well, Crawford didn't look good in his last fight against Madrimov, Crawford had, you didn't look good against William Skull either. You know, they asked him, oh, he's going to be bigger and stronger than you. And he was like, but is he really bigger and stronger than me? I don't think so. Like, he had an answer and a rebuttal to the press conferences when Canelo said, you fight with nobody. He's like, when I beat you, are you going to be a nobody? Like, I was always trying to tell you guys, he beat the Soviet style boxer. He has beaten a Bivol. He beat Victor Postol. And then now, long range with his arms 1-2, he beat Victor Postol. He also beat an athletic Olympian gold medalist and Felix Diaz, who was trained by Joel Diaz. He beat him, right? A lot of people don't like to give Bud Crawford his credit at 140, but these fighters are a tricky style. He beat Victor Postol. And when you go look at it, it was a very challenging style for Bud Crawford. He had to use his footwork. He had to let Victor Postol reach so he can tag him with the counters. He dropped Victor Postol 3-4 times with these little quick shots, but he was never really able to lay out Victor Postol. Victor Postol knew how to survive. That same Victor Postol gave fighters like Chones Zepeda, Jose Ramirez that were in their prime very tough fights. And I thought Postol probably beat those fighters. But, when you're politically have the connections and the promoter, in-house fighter, they're going to favor the stars. But anyway, Felix Diaz was also a very good, crafty fighter. I thought he beat guys like Lamont Peterson. But, again, when you have politics and you're not the in-house promoter, you don't really get those close decisions. Anyway, Bud Crawford has always fought every single style. Everyone will say, well, Floyd Mayweather fought bigger names. Sure. He fought bigger names like Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, and all these things.
Whoa. Why are you bringing up Mayweather?
But Bud Crawford had a decorated, diverse resume.
Here we go with this.
No. He's fought in Cubans. He's fought in Australians. He's fought in other black fighters.
Nobody's
tough Mexicans. He's fought in Russians. He's fought in, guys from Uzbekistan. He's fought in the Madrimos.
It's nobody's, bro. It's nobody's. Okay, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, bro. Okay, let's stop with the glazing now, right? Okay, every show that we've heard over the past week and a half or so, it's all about glazing Terrence Bud Crawford. And guess what? Sure enough, there's reasons to glaze the guy. You want to hop on his bar and just do whatever you want to do. Go over there and striptease for the guy, right? You guys can glaze him all you want. The fact of the matter is, it is proven without a doubt, after having gone up 2 weight divisions to fight a shoe-in Hall of Famer that has fought all the names, right? Hall of Famers, legends, incredible styles, a variety of fighters, the famous guys, no names, number one ranked fighters. This is Canelo Saul Santos Alvarez Barragan. He beat that guy 2 divisions from where Bud Crawford last fought, and he looked mediocre against Israel Madrimov at 154. This guy goes up to 168, and he beats that legend. Made it look easy. It was quite embarrassing. You would never have thought that Canelo would look like that night and day. But the fact of the matter is, we've always talked about this, right? We cannot be the type of boxing fans that we fascinate and become mesmerized because a fighter has one performance.
Why not?
And we should not be the kind of guys that go over there and make the hoorahs and the plaudits and we start sending them flowers all because of a singular win. The fact of the matter is, the accomplishments, the titles, the belts never should have mattered more than the names. That's the truth. And Terrence Bud Crawford has been able to make a very lucrative, very rewarding, very accomplished career on the cheap. He's fought in guys that have never been able to recover after beating them, guys that soon retired or were out the door, guys that never made anything in the sport. No unified champions.
Name
Right?
them.
We can go through all of his. And
Name
here's the
them.
other thing about him. Here's the other thing about. Well, you know more than me, right? You can name them yourself, right? You just
No,
mentioned all
no,
of the
no.
guys.
You can't just
Ray
say a bold
Vargas.
statement and not back it up with
Ray
fighters.
Beltran, was Ray Beltran a unified champion?
He didn't have
He
to
he
be. It
got
was his
he.
mandatory.
Okay, there you go. But here's what I'm trying to tell you: Canelo has fought mandatories and he's fought unified champions, right? And Terrence Bud Crawford, he's been able to make a
No, no,
career.
no.
That,
He's
wait
picked
up,
and
it's all.
choose his
I'm not trying.
mandatories.
Look, listen. I'm
Crawford
not
fought
trying to
his
say it's
mandatories
all.
that were
I'm
enforced.
not trying to say it's all smoke and
Canelo
mirrors.
picked and choose. Like Berlanga doesn't cut the line over David
Bud
Benavidez.
Bud Crawford does not have any Hall of Fame names on his resume. That's a fact.
Canelo.
That's
Canelo.
he does now. But what I'm trying to tell you is he's done it on the cheap. Even the fact that he got a Canelo fight was on the cheap.
Who else?
Allow me to expound. Because you're probably gonna interrupt with some crap glazing stuff that you got for Terrence Bud Crawford Dream. I know,
Like
bro. I'm not
racist.
gonna be that guy. Here's the thing.
Racist.
Terrence Bud Crawford, and I talked about it in the many lives between Dream and I. Terrence Bud Crawford should never have been allowed to jump 2 divisions up to fight a shoe-in Hall of Famer who held all the belts and attained them the hard way like he did. The only reason Terrence Bud Crawford got up there is because of the caprice, the
Wow.
desire of
It's
Turkey Ali
Wow. I
Sheik
can't
to
believe you're
see
saying
guess
this.
what? And it's
his
too late.
Turkey Ali
It's too
Sheik
late.
to
He's up
make
there already.
his dream fighter, the guy that he probably fantasized and sees in his dreams, and he probably wishes he was glistening with sweat. Terrence Bud
Play the
Crawford,
violins.
he's always won exactly. Everybody was playing Terrence
Wow.
Bud Crawford
Too
the
late.
violin. And guess what?
No, dude.
Turkey Ali
Too late.
Sheik wanted to correct a civil wrong. Nobody loved
Time
Terrence
out.
Bud Crawford, and
Hey,
it's
it's
up
too
to
late,
me
bro.
to bring out the
It's
greatness out of him. And that's
too late.
exactly what happened.
Too
It don't
late.
Time
matter
out.
what you say, bro. You can
Hold
interrupt
on.
all you want, bro. But the fact of the matter
I
is
haven't
this:
been able to say anything.
Terrence Bud Crawford at 168, he's the equivalent of Jermaine Taylor at 160. When Bernard Hopkins defended that belt for 4 years
Hold
or
on. You want to
5,
interrupt? I'll
taking
interrupt you.
on 12
I'll interrupt you. You want to
defenses,
interrupt?
with
Right?
all
All right.
unified, all undisputed on the line. And guess what Terrence Bud Crawford has done? He's never once defended his lineal status. He's never once defended undisputed. He's abandoned the belts when he has held them
Dude, you
all.
gonna let someone
He's
talk?
never been able to put up everything on the line to make his fights the greatest of stakes ever. And the reason nobody liked Terrence Bud Crawford until he ended up beating Sean Porter, Errol Spence, and Saul Santos Alvarez Barragan is because he never pleased the boxing fanatics. He's been able to
Wow.
get there on the cheap, and now you
All
guys are
right, listen.
glazing, and he's the
Hey, dude,
greatest
this
thing
was
Listen.
it
in
was
the
my
All
world
idea to
of
go
that,
live,
because he
right?
beat Canelo.
It
Get
was
out
my
of
idea
here,
to go
guys.
live.
Get
all
out
of
of here.
It
that
was my idea to
is,
go live.
bro, you're
All right.
so wrong. You're wrong, dude.
Dude,
Listen,
you're
the
such a
reason
hater.
why
Hold
Bud
on,
never had to defend his titles at
Prove me
140.
wrong, bro. Prove me
No,
wrong.
let me tell you.
Hold on, let me
If
say.
you're talking about 140, when the up-and-comers were coming up like Regis Prograde, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, those guys weren't going to want to fight Bud Crawford.
Who the hell
He was
defends
probably
undisputed?
asked by Bob Arum, relinquish those belts, move up to 147. He did, because he was probably promised Manny Pacquiao. So he's like, I'll fight Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn. You said that Bud Crawford should not be allowed to move up in weight class and fight Canelo Alvarez. Bro, Crawford waited all of these years till the age of damn near 40 years old to finally get the opportunities to fight the biggest names in the sport, because Bob Arum, because PBC tried to blackball one of their own people by not giving them Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. Those fucking fighters didn't even want to fight Bud Crawford. Exactly. You said Crawford doesn't have to. You almost basically, to summarize, say that Crawford never paid his dues. Bro, he waited damn near the back of the line throughout his whole fucking career, fighting all of these unbeknownst fighters to the world.
Whose fault was that?
That is crazy, bro.
Whose fault was that?
No, wait. It doesn't matter about whose fault it is. Crawford.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Crawford has already addressed all this. He goes, the reason why those fights didn't happen is because I'm not one of the, he even said this is word on, I don't know, the Ariel Helwani show or the Cam Newton he goes, I'm not going to be your monkey. I'm not going to do all these outlandish things just because that's what you expect out of these fighters to do. I'm not going to do that. So he stayed quiet and he goes, I'm only going to show you violence and I'm going to be loud when I'm fucking fighting. I'm not going to do that for the cameras. That's literally what he said.
We're not talking, bro. We're talking about other stuff, bro. I want the names.
Exactly
Give me the names.
Give me
the names.
You said he didn't please the fans in that aspect.
Give me the names.
It goes to the whole totality of the whole atmosphere that Bud Crawford was building in his world. Also,
Alexander Usyk.
Wait. If we're talking about guys that never had to defend or the road was tough, I can flip it on you and say Canelo doesn't deserve to be in these fucking moments. Because I can be like this. Who the fuck did he beat to call the shots to fight Floyd Mayweather at the age and meet at a catchweight?
You know who he beat?
Wait.
I don't know. Wait. Let me answer your question. Because don't make it a rhetorical thing, bro. You're asking a question. Let me retort. Let me retort.
Let me ask a couple of questions more. When he moved up and he fought Triple G, he failed the drug test. People should have abandoned Canelo Alvarez when he fucking
looked like shit
against Floyd Mayweather.
I like the strategy. You ask a lot of questions that you're never gonna give me an opportunity to answer. I love that strategy.
I'm gonna give you a lot of examples on how you're talking.
You're gonna overwhelm me, and then I'm gonna forget what you're talking about. That's the issue. That's your strategy.
Listen. It's because you gotta listen, bro. So Bud Crawford, you're saying that he skipped the line and didn't have to fight at 168, and he bypasses everybody.
Yep, and that's true. That's not even without a question.
Career.
He's no, he hasn't. He's scribed up every single division, and regardless of what you want to say, he's fought in names in order to get a title shot.
No,
Terence Bud Crawford did not belong at 168 at all. Terence Bud Crawford did not even belong at 154 to get a shot at Madrimov. He didn't belong it, bro. The only reason you can even say he deserved to be at 154 is because he wasn't disputed at 147, right? Okay. If anything, we should grant you the opportunity to just skip the line, skip through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just make a fight for a championship belt. Yeah, I would say maybe undisputed should get you there. Absolutely, right? Because that means you're the dominant guy at the way before. So that should mean you should be capable and competent enough to fight at least for one of the belts, which is exactly what he did. What happened when he did move up and fight a guy? Bro, the majority of people, I would say that Israel Madrimov won that fight. Right?
He fought the best guy at the time.
Okay, it doesn't matter. He lost that fight. He didn't beat that guy. I think you and I agreed to that. And maybe we even went on the live and we talked about it, but that's exactly what we say. Now, what in that performance, which was very mediocre, by the way, what in that performance should have allowed Terence Bud Crawford to move up in weight? None. not even to go to 160 to fight Carlos Adames, nor Janibek Kanulai. None of what you saw at 154 should have allowed him to move up and wait to not even 60. Furthermore, less to 168, where Canelo, the cash cow, was about to be rewarded $150 million and Terrence Bud Crawford $50 million to cut the line. The only reason that happened is because of the corruption that's taking place in the sport of boxing, of which we are now consenting to, which we never did before. We are consenting to. Why? Because of Terrence Bud Crawford and his newfound fanatics.
Because it's called prize fighting. What the fuck?
Of course, bro. You know what a prize fight? Listen, you know what a prize fight is? Let me tell you. Let me explain to you what a prize fight was. Let me explain to you what a prize fight was.
Amount of years, bro. For Crawford, for about damn near has been dominating the sport as a pound for pound fighter for like 10 years. He's undisputed at 140, 147, a champion.
You know what prize fighting is for, bro? Let me tell you something.
Unified at 135, 4-division time champion. It's not that he got to skip in line, bro. It's that all of his work finally was being rewarded.
That's not the job of the sanctioning bodies, bro. That's not the job of sanctioning bodies to correct the wrong. It doesn't matter whether or not Bud Crawford deserved those fans or he was being, blackballed by PBC.
It
doesn't. Listen, bro.
Approved of it. All of them approved of it.
Nobody approved of it. Who approved of it?
Bro, who cares? All of the
listen, bro. Listen. Here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to get at. This is what I'm trying to get at.
No, they were all involved.
Of course not, because they're all gonna get 50%, which is probably about a good $7.5 million.
No.
Yes, they will, bro. Yes, they will. They all get their cut. No, here's the thing.
Get their cut, but the terms can be negotiated.
Here's the thing. You know what a prize fight?
You can negotiate.
Homie Ricky, in the sport of boxing, and this is the reason why the boxing fan base is so ridiculous at times, right? Because we talk a big one and we make this deal about this reporter asking Dana White these tough questions about corruption and everything, like if we want to look out for the best of our fighters.
I don't care about
wait. I'm trying to tell you. Stay on topic. Well, you're interrupting me. And then when we see the same shenanigans, right? We say prize fighting. You know why? You know why this fight was not a prize fight? Look, in fact, everything that has to do with Canelo will always be a prize fight. William Skull was a prize fight. David Benavidez would be a prize fight. The winner of Ben versus Eubank, Adames, it moves up in weight. Hamza Shiraz, anytime Canelo steps in the ring, it's a prize fight. We shouldn't care about that, because prize fights are always going to happen under the prize fighters. And it's not even the prize fighter. See, the thing about Canelo, he is the perfect fighter. Canelo is a champion, not just a popular person. He's actually a defending champion who's gotten all the belts the hard way. That's the reason why he is a type of fighter that we should respect more. Regardless of what you say, maybe he looked like a bum, maybe he didn't train for whatever. The fact of the matter is, he's taken the hard roads to get where he is at. He puts all of his belts on the line. Canelo Saul Santos Alvarez Barragan has done it. Okay. And the fact of the matter that we just saw it is this. He decided, bro, and here's another thing. Let's just answer. See, I told you weren't gonna let me answer your question. But this is what you said. This is what you no, you didn't. You said that Mr. Bob Arum told Bud to vacate 140 and not defend this lineal and undisputed status because his fighters, Jose Ramirez, Estepeda, all of those guys would never fight him. And you know what Bud did? He said, "Okay, Bud. Okay, Bob, I'll go up to 147." And then he goes on to complain about Bob and Top Rank and wants to sue them after taking his advice. Dude, that's hypocrisy, bro. So you can't have it both ways, bro. You either Bob Arum gave you bad advice. Either Bob Arum gave you bad advice and somehow he was able to make you almost a 2-time undisputed champion, or
I agree. That wasn't Bud Crawford's best moment. You know, I think he would be like, yeah, at the time, that's how I felt. But knowing all the information,
Bud
like, yeah, I'll
Crawford.
probably
Bud
outtrade myself.
Crawford is smarter than the boxers, and he's smarter, especially than the boxing fans, because he's been able to pull the wool over your guys' eyes, and all of a sudden, you guys think he's the greatest thing
No,
in the sport
listen.
of boxing. He's Jesus incarnate in the
At that
black
time,
skin as
Crawford.
a
At
boxer.
that time, listen to me. At that time, Crawford felt a certain type of way because while Bob couldn't make the biggest fights, because the other fighters were on the other side of the street. Bob Arum also said, with the money that we invested in him, I could have owned a house in Beverly Hills. And that didn't sit right with him. And that's probably right soon around that time is when he sued him. Maybe he sued him before, or maybe he sued him after those comments. I don't really remember the linear events of those comments when
The
they were being
Mexican G
disparaging.
says. The Mexican G
Wait, wait,
says
wait, wait,
Crawford
wait.
is definitely a goat. He beat one of the top dogs in boxing.
Listen,
Well, let
before
me
we
ask you,
go on,
Mexican G,
wait,
was
bro.
Jermaine Taylor a goat because he? I don't think so. Right? We cannot, and we cannot start, cross
Listen,
referencing fights.
before you go on to
Mayweather
that
versus
comment, hold on,
Crawford.
hold on.
Homie
Before you
Ricky,
go
did you
on,
say that? Did you say Crawford was better than Mayweather, bro?
listen. Before you go on to that comment, we're not done with the other one. You keep saying that Crawford has had an easier road because he hasn't had to defend these titles and he never defends these titles. And
And he vacates the
listen,
belts all the time. Yeah.
Canelo, when he was at 154, he didn't unify didn't really unify that division. Didn't fight the Charlos, any of them at 154. Didn't fight Jarrett Hurd. Didn't fight any of those tough ass dudes. Demetrius Andrade. He didn't. At 168, when he beat Cotto and he became the WBC champion, he ran away from Triple G. He went
Did he?
back down
Thought he
to
fought him three
fight. Listen,
times.
he went back down to fight Liam Smith. Then he fought Amir Khan at a catchweight. Then he moved up to 164 to fight Chavez Jr. Then, when Triple G looked human against
Oh,
Danny
right.
Jacobs, listen to me.
Okay.
Then when
Yeah.
he looked human against Danny Jacobs, he was like, oh, I'll fight Triple G. Then when he fought Triple G to a draw, when everybody knows and their mama knows and the grandma knows that Canelo lost that fucking fight, right? They rewarded
My grandma don't know that.
listen, they rewarded Canelo with a draw. Okay? That was not a draw. Much like the third fight wasn't a close fight.
I actually
And
thought
they
it was a
gave it
draw.
to Canelo. Triple G washed Canelo in the first round.
Bro, come on.
And then what did Canelo do afterwards?
Let me know.
He failed the drug test.
Say something.
Okay? And then talk about how he shouldn't have been suspended or all of these things. Maybe he did or whatever for 6 months or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
He got absolved, skipped the line, and then fought Triple G a second time. The second time was really a draw. But they gave Canelo the fight. And then Triple G even said, whoever wins those fights is going to amount to having an amazing career. So if we're talking about skipping in line, who did Canelo beat to get a shot at Kovalev? You see what I'm saying?
Ricky, my contention is
wait. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Because
you're never gonna be done, bro. You're never gonna be done.
All of these things that you're saying about Bud Crawford had to wait. He had to wait. He didn't fight 40. He didn't fight 42 nobodies in Mexico to get the shot at Floyd Mayweather. He wasn't fighting little guys like Josecito Lopez who broke Victor Ortiz's jaw. Fucking Crawford had to fight all these fucking
poor
tough
little
dudes that
buddy.
you never even heard about. That's what I'm saying, bro. This is why I don't like going live with you, bro, because you speak some nonsense, dog. Like it's straight up. Like I want to get my blood pressure up. I'm old as fuck. Speak, Drew. Yo, Drew, 1, 2, 3. You there,
literally
bro?
just
Speed want to
ruined it,
hop on
bro.
the live dream.
Okay,
Talk about
Drew.
what,
Don't you want this guy to like?
Yo,
on,
Drew, you there, bro? You out the shower, bro? Talk some nonsense into this dude, bro. Like, what the hell
man,
you talking about?
Put this dude on a timer, bro. Like, you straight.
Nah, he said that he was gonna take a shower, but where you at? Drew.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I guess homie can't hear you, but I can hear you, bro.
Oh yeah, man. It's just like you didn't even let me talk, bro. Like, jeez. But
hey, yo, mic check real quick. Can people hear Dream talk? Cause
I could hear him talk. I could hear you talk, but you just can't hear him.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't even know where to start, bro. You guys went to Usyk, but you're tripping, Germ. Speed. Where'd he go? Yeah, see? Oh my God.
Don't ever use my gangster name, bro.
Speed?
Germ.
Well,
bro, I left my gangster life behind, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that's like not a real
You
name.
start dropping dives like that, bro, you're gonna get me murked, man.
That's not a real name, though.
Bro, come on, man. I'm just kidding. Go for it, bro. So what were we talking about?
Yeah, dude, it's just you're completely wrong about Terrence, bro. You got
what am I wrong about, bro? Okay, expound. I'll give you 5 minutes without even saying nothing. 5 minutes. I'm gonna put myself on mute. Go for it.
Thank you, bro.
Why should I kiss Bud's ass?
You know, I'm not saying to kiss Bud's ass. I'm saying to recognize that this has never been done before. To move up with 3 weight classes, this is some Roberto Duran shit, dude. This is what we expected Tank to do, but Terrence ended up doing it in the way better fashion. I'm not asking you a question. I'll probably have you answer this after your 5 minutes is up. But who beat up Canelo this bad? Like this bad down in the cards? Probably Bivol, bro. Like probably Bivol, and then Mayweather did it in a different fashion, bro. But he did what Bivol and Floyd did in one fight, you know, and he did it. Canelo's never like looked at like just fucking like deflated, bro. Like he was just like he felt like he was out of the fight, like probably by round 8 or 9. Once he started exchanging with him, I think that was like a sense of him being desperate to find some kind of opening, you know. So I think if he continued to do that, Crawford would have knocked out Canelo, bro. He would have knocked him out, but he probably would have hurt Canelo eventually if he stayed in that box with him, bro. But Crawford's just IQ is just too much, bro. Like he probably played it too safe, but he wanted to run with his bag, you know. So you got to recognize the history behind it, and also the fact that he's been in 21 world title fights. It doesn't matter how they serve you up. Doesn't matter like who the competition is. Anyone who has 15 to 20 defenses, they are not having no fucking slouches. They're not defending that against no slouches. Pretty much, they're going up against top tier guys, bro. And his run at 147 is dominant, bro. Like he did the same thing he could have done. It's hard to even say like what division he was more dominant in, bro. But not 154, obviously, only one fight. But dude, Madrimov gave him a harder time than Canelo, you know. And Canelo is our golden goose. He made our golden goose look like nothing, bro. This makes him the man now. Who's the man? Who was the man prior to this? Canelo. Now it's Crawford, you know. And it does not matter. He beat the guy who has been beating guys for 15 years. It doesn't matter. It erases all the BS you're talking about. And all that competition is just like you're just calling Canelo sorry. You're downgrading. You downgrading Crawford is you also downgrading Canelo. You just don't see it. You know, you're downgrading 2 guys at the same time when you say that, when you're hating on Crawford, bro. So it's like you're eating your own medicine, bro. Crawford is the best in this generation, bro. And he just proved it in one fight. That's what this one fight proved, you know. And if he goes on and dominates like at 168, he said I don't think he's moving down to 160 at 168. Bro, it's like he's only cementing his legacy, bro. Like I'm not calling him the best fighter like of all time, because I need to do research and I need to see like who was good and all that shit, you know. So I think right now, as for my memory in my lifetime, this guy's the best fighter. And it's also because of his habits, bro. Like that's what you got to recognize. You're defending a dude that has gotten less and less dedicated to the sport of boxing, while you got someone like Crawford who's getting older and being more disciplined. And that's what you got to recognize is his discipline. He does not smoke. He does not drink. Bro, this guy.
You're going on some other stuff, bro.
Huh?
You're going on some other stuff. We're talking about why we should recognize Terrence Crawford as what you stated, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, in your generation. You actually put him up there. You said you have to do your research in order to determine whether or not he's the greatest fighter that
Hey,
ever
but
lived.
hey, look.
I
Hey,
actually
That's
that wasn't
super
my
glazed, bro.
question.
That's super glazed. And I'm just gonna,
hold
bro,
on,
as soon as you
bro.
shut
Just
up and stop
because,
breathing,
hold on,
I'm gonna read you the
hold on.
names that he's fought, and then I'm gonna tell you,
Like I
yeah,
said,
that
like
guy's the greatest fighter in the world, huh?
this is why Rick doesn't want to go live with you, bro. Like you're horrible, bro.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you guys just circle jerk each other.
nah, I mean I know how to conversate, dude. But it's just it doesn't. I like I said, it doesn't matter what you have. Like all that list you're about to say. Go ahead. You're gonna
That's exactly what I was trying to get you to say. It
hold
doesn't
on,
matter.
hold on,
You
hold
just
on.
tell yourself. It
You
doesn't
don't
matter the names, right?
hold on, Rick. Hey, dude, relax, dude. Don't interrupt me.
When you
Like,
do it all the time.
Go for it. See, Speed. I'm telling you, bro.
No,
You have this.
please, bro.
Listen, bro.
Did
You
that guy
have
just
this
like?
way. Listen,
Did
bro.
that
You
guy
just have
just
this
get
way
all
where
butthurt, bro?
no, it's because, bro, you don't let people talk, bro.
I told him I
You
was giving it 5 minutes, and
listen.
I
The
timed it.
question wasn't about why should we thank or glaze Bud Crawford. That wasn't the question. The question was, it wasn't even a question. It was a statement that you said that he was cutting in line, as if he didn't get, as if all these years of boxing and beating all these people that you say are nobodies, right? This is the whole thing. This is the whole premise. Everyone says that he's beating nobodies. Oh, Victor Posto, he's a nobody. Yeah, Felix Diaz, he's a nobody. Jeff Horn, he's a nobody. But Jeff Horn beat Pacquiao. He used all the rugged tactics and he beat Pacquiao. He wasn't even supposed to go the distance with Pacquiao. He's supposed to get knocked the fuck out. And he beats him.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So all of these people, when Victor Posto shut the eye on Lucas Matisse, that was not supposed to happen. That was an upset of all upsets, let alone for him to knock him out. So what I'm trying to say is all of these people that are nobodies. See, Errol Spence also thought that Bud Crawford was beating nobodies as well. And what the hell happened to Errol Spence? Bro, he got dismembered. He's basically been off the sideline for 2 years because
Bro,
he had to
dismembered means
really,
he got cut apart into pieces, bro.
bro,
Come on, let's
dude,
use the
his
right terms,
one
bro.
tooth was crooked, flew to the
I
left side. His
know.
eyeball went to the right. Bro,
I
I
know,
think
but he
his
still
nose
has his
was by
arms,
his
bro.
brain. His hairline was pushed back. Bro, like, it
Oh,
don't
come on.
matter what you gonna say. Like, Bud Crawford beat, like, listen, bro. Bud beat that. I've never seen an ass whooping like what I saw that night.
I
On this
understand,
past
homie Ricky.
Saturday. Wait. This past Saturday.
Hmm.
I've never seen anybody beat the shit out of Canelo from body to head because not a lot of fighters even dig to the body. Bro,
Hmm.
Bud Crawford had Canelo fucking red all over his back, his shoulder, his face, everything, bro. When have you ever seen Canelo turned his head and his whole body and his torso all around like that one
Well,
punch?
actually,
Not even
he
Triple
rolled with
G
that
did that
punch.
shit. Triple G hit him with a right
Actually,
hand
yes, he
and
did.
boom.
Triple
And
G did
Canelo
that.
shook it
Exactly.
off. Wait, bro. Listen, let me cook, bro. Let me cook. What the fuck is wrong with you? Bud Crawford hit him with some shit that Triple G couldn't even hit Canelo with, and Canelo shook it off. He didn't shake off that punch that Bud Crawford turned his whole torso. So this whole time, bro, that's what I'm trying to say is people don't want to give credit. And at the end of the day, look, Canelo is a very good fighter. He's a very good fighter. But at the age of 21 and 22 years old, he cut the line and fought Floyd Mayweather, and he just barely beat in one credible dude in Austin Trout. All these other guys, he made them move up. Mosley, Josecito Lopez, Ponchito Fonso Gomez, you keep on going. He was fighting all of these dudes that he always moved up. Amir Khan, Drain Chavez Jr. So if we're going to talk about a guy who pretty much got, roses thrown at his feet without really paying his dues, 40 fights into his career, it would be Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? Crawford didn't have that opportunity. And that's the reason why you saw one guy damn near pitch a shutout against Canelo. So at the end of the day, Canelo couldn't solve these styles. But Crawford, there's not been
And
one fight,
and
maybe
that's
Madrigal,
another
that was
reason
close.
why these things should never have happened, homie. You more so than anybody, bro. Because Dream has only been into boxing, what, maybe almost a decade, right? I don't know how long you've been following boxing. maybe 15, 20 years. I don't know. You're what, like
Bro, you
maybe
pissed
close to
him off.
30.
He hasn't even come back. He's probably been a
It
boxing
don't
guy
matter,
since
bro.
this shit
It
was
don't
a
matter.
kid.
It don't matter because if
What do
you
you mean don't
noticed
matter,
when we
bro?
were
What are you talking
discussing,
about, bro?
when I was talking to you, he was interrupting. He was jumping the gun and jumping the gun. And you know what I did? I kept going because I'm trying to make my point, right? He does not like
Oh
it when
my
you
god.
interrupt him. So I'm not too concerned about that guy. What I'm trying to tell you is this, homie Ricky, and this is the truisms of the sport of boxing, right? I'm just going to remind you what the truisms of boxing are. One, every fighter has a puncher's chance, right? And two, on any given night, anybody could win. And this is the reason why I am very critical of the maneuvering of Terence Bud Crawford. Because, yes, any fighter has a puncher's chance. And when you think about one of the fighters in the world that people say is a complete fighter, the best fighter in the world, you must absolutely understand that Terence Bud Crawford has more than a puncher's chance. He has an undisputed puncher's chance, right? So you don't give credit because he can beat everybody. You give credit because of the work. I'm a type of person that appreciates the hard work to accomplish something. Putting in the work. I've never liked people that cut in line, bro. I don't cut in line. And because you put in the work day in, day out, sometimes you will suffer some losses. Sometimes you will overcome and be victorious. But the fact of the matter is, to me, it matters the work, the stories, how you get to a place matters to me more so than what you accomplish. You see what I'm saying? The
I
story,
literally
the
told you.
context, and
I
and what I'm
literally
trying to
told
tell you.
you
I'm
that
and
Canelo has cut in line
no, no,
way
no. But
more
you have to
than Bud
understand a
Crawford.
couple.
What the
You
fuck
have
is he
to
talking
understand
about, bro?
what you have to understand. You say cut in line, but yet at the same time you belittle the fact that he cut in line. Really? You say he cut in line when he fought Matthew Hatton, Ponchito, Centron, Shane Mosley. Okay, fighting Shane Mosley does not get you any way a shot into Floyd Mayweather, even though Shane Mosley probably could have beaten Mayweather had he continued to fight the way he did in round 2 and 3. All right. Yeah, none of that matters. Josecito Lopez, none of that matters. Austin Trout, undefeated, black, rangy, southpaw fighter in Austin Trout, who was the champion, by the way, does not deserve to get you a Floyd Money Mayweather fight. Okay. You know who chooses that? The cash cow. Floyd Money Mayweather is the cash cow.
Or a promoter
And
named
you know
Oscar
why?
De La
And listen,
Hoya.
and you know why Floyd Mayweather was the cash cow? It's because he fought everybody. When you think about a guy who's fighting
No, he
everybody,
didn't.
and when you think about a guy who's fighting
He
everybody,
fought
and the
everybody.
reason why
No, he
he's a
fucking
prize
didn't.
fighter, the reason why that guy is a prize fighter is because he's always pleased and fought notable names and in ways that impressed people. Therefore, he got people's respect and especially the money in their wallets in their purse. Terence Bud Crawford never did that. You see what I'm saying? Terence Bud Crawford was never a prize fighter because you cannot compare Money Mayweather's career to Bud Crawford's. It's night and day.
Listen, Jake
Wait,
Paul's
wait,
a
wait,
prize.
wait, wait,
Jake
wait.
Paul's a
You
prize
cannot
fighter.
give
He's
a
done all the
guy,
right
you
things. What the fuck
cannot
are you
give.
talking about, bro?
Listen, you get Mayweather, you cannot say Bud Crawford is a prize fighter because he's accomplished things. Because that's not the way it works. I've continued to bring up the fact, and you guys never refute this, by the way. Jermaine Taylor became undisputed by only winning one fight against one man, Bernard Hopkins. Right? What did Jermaine Taylor do with that afterwards? Immediately lost it. Okay? That guy never accomplished nothing. What does that fight prove to you? On any given night,
What do you mean that
right?
doesn't?
A
He didn't
puncher
accomplish
has
nothing.
a
He just beat
puncher's
Bernard
chance.
Hopkins. Listen, bro.
Exactly.
Listen.
But on any given night, a puncher has a puncher's chance. And Jermaine Taylor is proof positive that that's exactly what happens. Right? Anybody could win, homie Ricky. That's why you never give shortcuts. You have to appreciate the hard work to get there. Now, the question we should ask ourselves is whether or not anybody that attains an undisputed or lineal status should they even defend all belts or abandon them, which I actually agree that Terence Bud Crawford should have abandoned all of his belts because nobody should be able to just become undisputed by one simple fight on one given night. Because you can wake up the morning of with a tummy ache, and it just hurts. And I've had like a tummy ache before, bro. It's, man, it just ruins your day, bro. You have no energy. You can wake up with a tummy ache, and all of a sudden you lost
let
everything,
me
bro.
put all this stop to a nonsense. The only reason why there's a such thing as being called undisputed is because there's only supposed to be one belt. All right.
But there's four.
Wait. There's only supposed to be one belt per weight class. There's not supposed to be four. Is there 4 Super Bowls in one calendar year? Is there 4 World Series? No. There's only one World Series. There's only one Super Bowl. There's only one World Cup. You get what I'm saying? There's only one NBA championship finals. In boxing, that's the reason we call for undisputed, because there's too many belts and too many names not fighting each other. So sorry, but yeah, once you get beat, you it don't matter about all those belts. It's easier for boxing just to give us one belt and be like, oh, that's the guy. So
it's easier for your memory.
One guy beats a champion. That's how it's supposed to be.
It's easier for your memory, homie Ricky.
Hold on. So that's how it's supposed to be. So if Bernard Hopkins has all of those belts and he has an off night and Jermaine Taylor beats him for it, guess what? There's this thing called a rematch.
Let me ask you something,
do it once, let's see if you can do it again.
Listen, homie, let me ask you something. What's easier for you to get, bro?
So this thing that you're speaking of, like a puncher's chance, and I get what you're saying, but that does not apply to Crawford. See, because he has more than a puncher's chance. You get
homie Ricky, everybody, that's what I said, bro. I actually said that he was a twice undisputed fighter. A twice undisputed fighter has a puncher's chance to beat anybody and the perfect night, especially with the perfect style. You guys continue to exclude the fact that there's styles, right? Styles make fights, and there's some styles that are better than others.
Hold on, and then you try to be slick and be like, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather fought all these fighters and all these styles." No, he didn't. Dude, name me one Russian fighter that Floyd Mayweather fought.
Bro, didn't we have an embargo with Russian fighters back then? Was there any Russian fighters that you remember, homie Ricky?
Where's his Victor Postol?
I want you to tell me what Russian fighter do you know that was making waves then?
Listen, during his time when he was fighting Robert Guerrero and Andre Berto, you know who was there at 147? There was a guy named Kell Brook. There was a guy named Sean Porter. There was a guy named Keith Thurman. There was a guy named Errol Spence. There was a guy named Erislandy Lara at 154. Where's the Cubans that Floyd Mayweather fought? Where's all these tricky styles where Floyd Mayweather didn't have advantage? Like guys that he had against Juan Manuel Marquez, Manny Pacquiao, where he was taller and faster than all these guys. What happened? How come he didn't fight those dudes? He didn't fight no Austin Trout. He fought all of these dudes that came forward to him where he was able to counter and piece apart and beat them with athleticism, speed, and timing. Where's the other Olympian fighters? He only fought after, like, probably Oscar De La Hoya was probably his last Olympic fighter.
Bro, you're tripping, bro. You're forgetting that Money Mayweather also had his pretty boy era. Like Money Mayweather couldn't. Hey, you're crazy. Money Mayweather could never just walk you down like he didn't. Like he was never pretty boy Floyd. Ridiculous, bro. You continue to ignore a lot of different stuff, and you can never prove to me one name, bro. You can't give me one. You cannot give me one name. You cannot give me one name in those eras that was a Russian fighter that was making any kind of waves. You're just thinking about styles. And what I'm trying to get at, homie Rick, is quite simple, bro. The road to a championship. The road to a championship is what matters more, bro. You look, to tell you down this truth, Terrence Bud Crawford, and this is what I think. Terrence Bud Crawford can actually go down to 175 right now and fight Bivol, who has all the belts.
He would have to go up to 175.
Yes, he would have to go up. He would have to go up to 175. He would have to go up to 175. But because of his style and his trickiness, and because he has a puncher's chance and he has a very good style against a very simple, straight up and down Bivol, he could beat that guy. And you know what he would become in that case? He would become a 4-time undisputed champion. See, because there's people like you right now that you laughed, right? You laughed, right? You laughed and me saying that Terence Bud Crawford could actually beat Bivol.
No, you
But
said
the
I
fact of
laughed
the
because you
matter is, there
said
was a
Bibble was
lot
a
of
basic
people.
up and down fighter.
A lot of people left. A lot of people left when they thought that Bud Crawford would beat Canelo, and they all left. And they fucking did. You know what I said? I never actually gave a winner for that. You know what I actually said the whole time? I don't like this fight because Terence Bud Crawford can't beat Canelo. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't deserve the chance.
That's
He doesn't
crazy,
deserve the
bro.
chance to just take and strip this guy for all of his belts and be easy breezy cut in line 3-time undisputed. Canelo should have held his ground, valued his accomplishments more, and said, you know what? Nah. You need to prove yourself at 160. You need to prove yourself at least once or twice at 168 before you fight me. Take on an Mbili. Take on take on one of those Cuban expats that live in
Let me
José
tell you.
Iglesias. Why
Let
don't
me
you
tell
fight one
you
of those
why
guys?
Canelo didn't say that. You know why?
We know because of the money, bro. Come
No,
on.
no, see, I knew you were gonna go there. No,
No,
no, I'm not gonna
no.
give you that. Canelo he did that because he thought Crawford was gonna be easy. He thought, just like everybody and myself included, this guy's moving up 21 pounds. He's
Bro, why would he
fighting
think it was easy,
nobody.
bro? Why would he
Listen,
think it was
he's
easy?
forward. Look, this is what Canelo thought. He's gonna be like, damn, Turkey, you throwing me 150 million? You're gonna do this on Netflix? You're gonna put me on the Allegiant Raider Stadium? And you're making this guy move up 21 pounds? He laughed at the fucking idea, bro. He's like, this is easy money. Like he told Eddy, with all respect, easy money. That's what he fucking thought. Just like everybody thought. That's bro.
Yeah.
Canelo's career
Everybody.
is cherry picking. It's
Oh
cherry
man.
picking. I told you, Amir Khan, Chavez Jr., Liam Smith, Callum Smith, all of these dudes, Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, but you don't seem to understand it. This was supposed to be a cherry, bro. This was supposed to be a cherry for Canelo to beat Crawford. He wasn't just
Yeah,
supposed to
he
beat
thought it was
Crawford.
gonna
Listen,
be
listen.
easy. Every time he's
Absolutely.
fought in the black
Listen,
fighter, it's
he
always been
knew
the toughest fights he had. Are you kidding me,
but
bro?
he didn't matter.
Ruslan
No,
Lara,
listen,
Austin
he
Trout,
thought,
Money Mayweather,
listen,
Danny
he thought,
Jacobs.
wait,
Why
he
would you
thought
think that he thought it was easy,
that
bro?
this guy was moving up like Jermell Charlo and it was going to be easy work. Well, guess what, Canelo? Crawford, it ain't like that, bro. It ain't like that. And that's what he thought. Everybody thought that, bro. Listen, I like Crawford, but
Bro.
I'm not the biggest Crawford fan.
Listen, bro.
You know what I'm
Listen.
saying? No,
If it was gonna,
So
if
that's what I'm
Canelo really
trying to
thought that it
tell
was
you.
gonna be easy, listen.
I
If you really
guarantee
thought
you.
Canelo thought that it was
Listen,
gonna be easy, he would never have asked for 150 million. He knew his career
listen.
was over, bro. He was asking for handsome money because he knew the risk that he was taking would destroy him in the eyes of the boxing world. And that's exactly what's going on. This whole session,
Listen.
this little live where
Wait.
Dream got all titty, tit for tat in the tizzy, it's had all been Bud Crawford glazing and Canelo sucks. Canelo
Thought
sucks, right? That's
that
what you said.
Crawford was easy work. He thought this guy is older than me. He's on paper smaller than me. He's moving up 2-3 weight classes and he's moving very fast. He's doing all of these things and he's supposed to beat me, bro. Canelo thought it was going to be easy work.
Yeah.
And you're paying
Homie
him
Ricky,
and you're paying him 150 million, bro. He
yeah.
thought it was gonna be easy, and guess what?
That's the
He
opposite
didn't
of
even
that.
win 2 fucking rounds.
Nah, that's not how it works in real life, bro. In real life, the more money you get paid, it's because the more challenging and difficult the task is. No one ever pays you easy money for easy work. That's exactly what happened. Terence Bud Crawford,
You must not heard of this
Canelo
thing
knew.
called
Terence Bud
inflation.
Crawford,
You
but
must not heard
Canelo
of this
knew
thing called
that this
inflation
guy.
because my dad is 10 times the hard worker than I am, and I've gotten paid more than him by doing lesser jobs. You must
Bro,
not
you're
heard
just
this term
lazy,
called
bro. You're
inflation.
just
What are you
lazy,
talking
bro.
about?
You're just lazy. Here's the thing, bro. The fact of the matter is this:
I'm
high
tired of
risk,
hearing you,
high
Juice.
risk.
Outsmart this man, bruh.
Nah, this guy's all. Nah, this guy's. He got.
Hey, what
But I've
happened, my
never
boy?
seen a
Why'd you
grown
leave, bro?
man,
Why'd
bro.
you leave?
I've never seen a grown man act so belligerent. You know who he reminds me of?
Speed. Hey, yo, Drew, why'd you leave, bro? You guys have been wanting to talk for 5-6 months, my boy. Why'd you leave?
I had to come smoke real quick because this girl is fucking.
All right, I'll give it a break, guys. Come on.
Yeah, so honestly, you have to give Crawford credit, honestly, because these are two all-time greats going at it. I don't know why
there's any diminishing of any of these guys. In reality, Crawford is on the downslope, and I mean Crawford, Canelo's on the downslope, and Crawford had is on the up because he's actually putting on weight. So he's actually more explosive now, and he's and stronger now, and a better version, pretty much a better version of himself. And dude, this guy's just the smartest dude, bro. Like it's all about IQ, man. Like with Crawford, you just the way he was taking those punches, bro, like why was Charlo running? Like, and why wasn't Crawford running? Why was Plant running? Why wasn't Crawford running? You have all these guys who are running from Canelo, bro, trying to
Crazy, huh?
outbox him. And you had Crawford, a 5'9" guy, right there standing in the pocket with him. Make that make sense.
I
Dude,
can't, bro.
it's like, dude, he stood there like a statue. When he took those hooks, he stood there like a statue. I've never seen that before since Triple G, maybe, and or Bivol, and it's just these guys are so much bigger than Crawford, bro. Like, make that make sense. It doesn't make it doesn't matter who you beat prior to this. No Hall of Famers prior in your resume. You do what you do. You have Hall of Fame qualities,
Yeah.
and you beat a guy like Canelo, who is actually a Hall of Famer
And
himself,
himself, yeah.
and you're a 5 division world champion. Not too many guys like he's like in a room with very few, bro. Less than 10 guys have done that, I think, like, or 6.
Yeah, no, very true, man. And I didn't want to come on this live and shit on Canelo to uplift Crawford. I like to your point, yeah, Speed and Drew. Like, I will say this, bro. Like, Canelo's a very good fighter, and Crawford just better. You know what I mean? Kind of like when Floyd was beating my boy Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. Those are some
Yeah.
very great fighters, but Floyd Mayweather was just greater. And we can talk about in retrospect all of these things, and when the fight plays out, and you're like, "Damn, I didn't see it." To be honest with you, as the fight, I didn't go live for like 6 months, but as I was studying more tape, I was like, "Yeah, Bud can do this." There's much everybody knew, like when it came down to who was the superior boxer, it was that, and I was always thinking to myself when I was watching Jose Benavidez and Ray Beltran, I was like, Crawford struggles with the Mexican style of fighter. He struggles with guys that sit there in the pocket and throw combinations like Mean Machine. Mean Machine dropped Bud Crawford. And I was like, if Canelo can throw these punches, then it's fine. But then I started watching Canelo's fights. And I was watching Amir Khan. And I was like, speed, Crawford's got it. And Amir Khan is tagging Canelo. And then I was like, man, he can't cut off the ring still against William Skull. And he couldn't get rid of Jermell Charlo. And I was like, Bud Crawford has those footworks. So I was like, it's going to be more complicated than this. But I was thinking, there's going to be a moment where Canelo lands one punch or a punch.
Mhm.
And Crawford's going to be like, fuck that. Let me get my lick back. Like he did with Mean Machine, like he does with all these other fighters. And now the fight's going to break out. Bud stayed calm. I think like in the 5th round, he actually landed a right hand. Canelo did. Crawford was winning that round, but he lands a right hand and he kind of turns Bud Crawford, and Bud Crawford just stays calm. Like he doesn't let the war break out. He just kind of sucked out the air, and little by little, he's taming Canelo with all of these tricks and bags that he has, whether it's blocking, pot shotting, when he wants to engage in the fight. And Canelo just was a little bewildered. And there was a lot of frustration. There was like 3 or 4 or 5 moments where like, he looked desperate. And he was like, oh, like, fuck, I can't fucking. He's thinking to himself, like, he's like shaking his head, like in disbelief. He's like, bro, I can't hit this dude. When like, he couldn't find the openings. He was swinging hard, and it was not phasing Bud Crawford. It wasn't breaking his guard. And I was like, well, Canelo, dude, you're not throwing the proper punches to break up his guard. See, you've been throwing for a while against Berlanga and Jaime Munguia and all these guys, nothing but hooks. He's taking them away. And when you do land your straight punches, it's a little too far in between. Like you're not throwing enough lead right hands. And what did Madrimov throw? Nothing but right hands. What did he do? In and out footwork.
And maybe
Canelo didn't even want to like get in the pocket and really like create these openings. He didn't want to do the Lomachenko, swipe one of your lead hands down and then check you on the over the top. He didn't give different looks. He didn't change the rhythm of the fight. The last 5 fights that we saw Canelo fight, he tried to do the same thing against Bud Crawford, and Bud Crawford's been a whole year studying, lifting weights, focusing on his speed, focusing on the game plan. What you've been doing the last 5 fights, he's like, you ain't gonna hit me with these punches, Canelo. And he didn't. And what I was shocked about it is like, okay, Canelo, you tried for 6 rounds this style. Let me see your adjustments that you're gonna make. And then when I was realized, damn, Canelo, you're not as smart as I think. Or I thought that you were. I thought you were going to be able to make some adjustments. I thought that you were going to fight much tougher for all of those belts on Mexican Independence Day. Tener el orgullo. 70,000 fans. Where were the 70,000 fans trying to uplift their champion? Canelo, Canelo. Where was that?
Yeah.
We didn't see none of that. And I was thinking to myself, bro, where's the urgency? And I saw more urgency on Bomac and the other trainer, Isau, telling Bud Crawford, we don't know how fucking close this round is. You got to do more. And then Eddy, I was like, so I'm just like, wow, like, what do you mean, Bomac? Like, I know it's kind of close, but like Crawford's winning this. That's what I'm saying, bro. There was more urgency for the challenger, and that's usually how it is. But I was like, come on, Canelo, you have everything rooting for you. Turkey has you for a 3-fight deal. They made it in basically Las Vegas, which is like a mini Mexico. And Mexican Independence Day and all of these things. And they still wanted to rob Bud Crawford. 2 judges saw it 7-5. And I'm like, this is what you guys do. This is a disservice.
They tried.
By making this fight so close, because it gives a false belief that it was close. And that 1 round you guys were willing to rob Bud Crawford and make it into a majority draw. And it was nothing, like, couldn't be further from the truth. It was like 10-2, 9-3. I can only give Canelo confidently maybe 3 rounds. And even then, I got to like scratch and claw and really look for that diamond in the rough to be like, yeah, you know, that round he won it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's crazy, bro. Like how he managed to just eat those punches, man. He didn't even he wasn't even phased about it. He actually said he was punched harder with what's his name, Mean Machine. Mean Machine punched him harder, but I'm guessing there's no way. But I think in reality there is a way, and it's called Father Time. And I think Canelo's like on the decline. And
Bud Crawford actually cleared that up. He goes, what I meant by Mean Machine hitting harder is that he actually connected on me his best punch, and Canelo never did. And he goes, Canelo is a very good technical fighter. Shit, give me a second. I have to sneeze.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe he never connected a clean shot, and he actually never got to find out. You know, so he kind of did. That's what I was saying. He kind of did what Bivol and
correct,
did, bro.
Yeah, so that's what Bud Crawford, he goes, yeah, I've been, because they asked him, like, who hits harder? And he goes, look, man, Mean Machine hit harder. But because Mean Machine actually landed one of his harder punches on me, he goes, Canelo, you know, he didn't really land on me with his best shot at all. So, like, I can't say that, you know, he hits really hard. And it's true. And that's what I'm trying to say is Canelo, when he fought Floyd, Canelo threw punches. He was missing almost all of them, but he used to throw combinations. And then now, of Canelo of now, he doesn't throw a lot of combinations. And going back to maybe Father Time, but I don't think it's Father Time. There was the mindset that Canelo has. Canelo has always been asked recently, why does he throw more combinations like he did against James Kirkland, like he did against Josecito Lopez, you know, and all of these dudes, you know, and he was, and like Perro Angulo, and the list goes on. And he goes, I don't want to throw a lot of punches. I just want to throw quality. Right, so like Zepeda, he throws 1,000 punches, you know, 150 punches around, but not all of them are quality, right? So he's like, I don't want to waste energy. And you see little and little as Canelo ages and gets a little older and adds more weight, he throws even less and less and less. And it's like, sometimes, bro, these guys are really strong. They can block your best punches. They can take it away, and you can't create openings. They're not going to be fragile skin like Callum Smith. where a punch is gonna swell. No, these guys are gonna be tight. They're gonna be strong. They're not gonna blemish like that. There's not gonna be inflammation and swelling. So what might work for one is not gonna work for all. And that's that's what I'm talking about. Adapting and making adjustments and implementing new styles. Eddy, Reynoso and Canelo, they haven't been doing that. They've gotten way too comfortable. And I don't know if you can teach Canelo, like the old saying, old dog, new tricks. I don't know if Canelo is willing to be like, okay, for this rematch, if there is a rematch, I don't know. I would rather have a rematch because what else is Canelo going to do? Fight David Benavidez for what? David Benavidez, I would like for that fight to happen. But if there was ever a moment where it was a passing of the torch, like Speed was saying, it should have been David Benavidez, not Bud Crawford, because Bud is older than Canelo. Yeah, and even though Crawford is much more skillful, it's like you should have passed it to the new guy. The new guy is Crawford. Like, no, he's damn near 40. How much more fights does he have left? Can you go down to 116 fight Johnny Beck, Carlos Adames, Erislandy Lara? Yeah, he probably fucks them all up. But it's like, does he really want to do that? Well, maybe, because I'm sure Bud Crawford is all about making legacy and history. He would love to be undisputed in 4 divisions. But then he'd be like, I have to fight 3 more dudes. Why can't I just beat Bivol instead? Look, I don't know, bro. There's so many things that they can think about. But what I was mostly shocked about, bro, and I don't know if these comments froze or these guys are talking about it, but before we go on to the next thing, Vince goes, hopefully Turkin can get Richard Torres Jr. versus Amado Vargas at their current weights. The Mexican G goes, as you may remember, I was Crawford hater. Crawford is definitely a GOAT. He beat one of the best top dogs in boxing. Canelo sells tickets, packed the stadium in Vegas. Is Ryan Garcia still active or training? I miss him in the ring. And then War Speed goes, what about Triple G? Canelo is 5'8", beating on 6'1" fighters. Make that make sense. Let Dream talk now.
I was gonna say maybe because Canelo looked really ripped, bro. Like maybe he actually gave up some of his power for speed, and try to like match him punch for punch. But I think he just should have just gone for like power, because he looked really ripped up for this fight. So I mean, maybe it was that as well, but honestly, Crawford just has way too much IQ, bro, and he was playing it safe in the right spots, and he was actually being offensively like aggressive in the right spots, So it's a chess match, bro. So I forget what I was gonna say after that, but what were you saying before that?
Yeah, no, man. So it's like there's so many things that we can talk about about what Canelo should have done, could have done, but the reality is what he refused to do is, and maybe the way to beat Crawford is not by trying to land
is better off knocking him out.
Not exactly. You have to try to first land punches on him. And how do you land punches on them? By showing him something that he hasn't seen before or that you haven't shown in a while. When you look back at Canelo versus Triple G2, those guys decided to throw and stand in their pocket and really never take a back step. And Canelo was throwing a lot of combinations, just like Triple G was throwing a lot of combinations. We knew that Bud was going to have the footwork and the speed advantage as a smaller man. But Canelo refused to exchange, bro. And it's maybe because how hard Crawford hits and how unpredictable Crawford is that Canelo couldn't really block his punches. And he was like, fuck, I can't. And remember, it's the punch that you can't see that hurts you the most. And there was a lot of time that Canelo thought that he was rolling with the punch or out of range. Boom, chin check. Boom, getting hit here. And he was like, fuck. And it was so challenging for him. But I was always thinking to myself, it's like, okay, Canelo, now that this fight isn't going your way, what adjustments are you going to make? Did you see any Dream Speed?
Nope. Dude, I didn't see no adjustments. He didn't even I think Crawford just had him figured out like from the get-go, bro. Like he was trying to figure out Crawford and he was actually trying to like play dead, kind of like just trying to act like he's like backing up, trying to set him up a little bit, but it didn't work, bro. Like he wasn't falling for any of that. So he kind of like started to like get a little frustrated, bro, by the way, by his movement. He started to like look down, look the other way, like, oh, fuck, you jabbed me up again, and he just dude, he made it hard. Bud made it hard for the judges to get to rob him, bro. like it was a 10-2, bro. Like he couldn't figure him out, bro. Crawford's just fucking genius, dude. Like he just, I don't know, he just knows how to win a fight, bro. And he actually could have knocked him out, but he wasn't trying to, you know, ruin the bag, because he knows he's gonna getting opportunities after this, with or without boxing. But yeah, dude, it's just crazy, bro, how he played Canelo, bro. And yeah. And I think it's lifestyle, bro. Just like I said, it was lifestyle.
Well,
Canelo's probably
Canelo also has a disciplined lifestyle as well. Maybe
yeah.
not as much as Bud Crawford, but because Canelo at a very early age was able to succeed and earn millions and gazillions of dollars. So he's able to have, tequila brands, and he's
Hmm.
been able to be owners of a Chivas soccer team, and he has his VMC, alcohol line. So I'm sure he drinks alcohol, but that's never gotten in the way of his success and knocking out dudes. And for all intents and purposes, bro, we've known Crawford to be a really big and strong guy, even at welterweight, even at 154. He was tricky versus Madrimov. So what does it say when guys like Madrimov or Mean Machine, because remember, Mean Machine also hurt Virgil Ortiz, and he probably dropped him once or twice, but they weren't called. I know we had a conversation and we watched videos, and you guys were saying, no, he didn't drop. He threw a left hook and he slipped. I remember Pachuco was saying all these things. So maybe I think we corrected it. So maybe, he never dropped them. But Mean Machine was very skillful and crafty, and he was strong, and he threw fast punches in the pocket, and he had combinations. Madrimov was very tricky. So what does this say now? Do we bring those fighters up and be like, man, these guys were very challenging and talented? Or is this just more like, are we just giving Canelo a pass because, man, maybe Father Time is there? Like, where do we go from now? Now that the dust has settled, now that we got conclusions, because this is shocking, bro. Even to this day, like, even now, I'm still shocked. Like, that just happened.
Yeah,
That wasn't close.
Well, the thing is, there's not too many guys who have moved up the amount of weight classes that Canelo did, and obviously Canelo was beating up guys all the way up from 168, starting at 140.
Could Bivol do that?
No,
could he go to heavyweight? Could Bivol go to where Zurdo's at? Beat Zurdo, beat Jayo Patai. After he does that, does he go to Bridgerweight? He beats those Bridgerweight champions, and then can Bivol go to heavyweight and give Usyk a tougher fight than all these other dudes? Or no?
But I think it's all about like I'm saying like accolades. Like there's not too many guys that can say they're 6 weight division champions, bro. And for Bivol, it's almost impossible because there's not too many weight classes to do that. So he's gonna have to like beat everyone up just in his weight class and around him. So I'm just saying like with Crawford and Canelo, they're around the same height. They were able to move up all those weight classes and be dominant. And what's it called? And Crawford is that, and I mean Canelo, he's actually like found a dude. There's a dude that has actually around his height that has done the same thing that he's done and has beaten him. And I think that's more defeating right there because he's no longer, the only man that has done, what he's done, so.
Or maybe because what you said is true, or does this light a fire in Canelo and he's like, I want my fucking belts back. I need to fucking make some changes. Eddie can be my main trainer, but I need to fucking bring Joe Diaz so he can give me some fucking intelligence and draw up a masterful game plan. Or does he be like, nah, because Canelo has never rematched guys that fucked him up. He never rematched Floyd. He never rematched Bivol. He's never even talked about rematching these dudes that fucked him up because maybe he knows the judges might thought that I got a draw or beat Floyd. They maybe thought that I only lost 7 or rounds to Bivol, or that this fight was gonna be a majority draw against Bud. But he never rematches the fighters that beat him because he knows. Or does maybe this spark a fire on Canelo, humble him a little bit, and be like,
all right, I'll tell you.
Now we're in a fight.
Yeah, no.
Now I'm in another trilogy.
Okay, I
like
hope
the Triple G.
I
what
hope
were you
so
thinking,
because
my boy?
No, I think this guy wants to be a billionaire. And I think he wants to cross that billionaire mark. So I think he will fight a couple more times and actually like continue to knock dudes out, bro. But I hope he does. My guess is that he fights Jake Paul in his very last fight. Like he announces his retirement. He announces his retirement like Tank did, and then he fights Jake Paul. But I
Wait, Tank
think,
announced his retirement?
yeah, he announced it a long time ago, a couple months ago. And then he ended up announcing his fight with Jake Paul like a couple weeks after that. But yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I know. I
it's
hear you, bro. Warp Speed goes. Let Dream talk now. Here's your answer, Rick. Snack. What the fuck?
I know.
Snack is the reason Bud Crawford was able to do this and beat up Canelo. Then how come Devin
Nah,
Haney
bro.
couldn't beat up Ryan Garcia? Because
Dude, this
Devin
guy
Haney's
don't
a snack
party.
fighter. Why did Ryan Garcia look so fast and strong on
This
that one,
conversation
Speed?
is over, bro. This conversation is over.
Huh?
This is
Huh?
how ridiculous. This is how
Hey, yo,
ridiculous if you
Speed,
have
yo,
gotten,
Dream, do you
bro.
hear him?
And 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 Dream is and Dream coming through. What's it called with some horrible takes? Canelo retires after fighting Jake Paul. Man, Dream.
It's not what he
Oh,
said.
no,
He
I
You're
said
didn't
if he
say
so
wants
that.
to be a
disrespectful.
billionaire, he'll fight Jake
I
Paul.
know what you said.
No,
You're still
I said
saying
he
that he's willing to
I
fight
said
that
he's
guy.
gonna retire. I said he's gonna retire. He's gonna announce his retirement first, and then he's gonna fight Jake Paul.
It's the same crap. What's the difference with what I said? You're still saying that Canelo would
You're breaking up
lower
with
himself.
boxing.
You're
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 breaking up
you're
with
saying that,
boxing. You're not cheating on it because you broke up with
dude. This first off, bro. First
it.
off, here's the thing. Um, we do have to ponder that question, not necessarily the Jake Paul question, but we do have to
Maybe it's a
ponder the
stretch.
question.
Maybe it's a stretch.
We
I
do
kind
have
of
to
just
ponder the
shock
question.
value.
It's
I
absolutely
wanted to make you
not
mad.
only is it a stretch,
I want
it's
to make you mad.
shut the hell up. No. Let's talk about something real, right? This is not the end of Canelo. How do we know it's not the end of
I
Canelo?
hope not.
It's not. It's not the end of Canelo because Turki Ali
I
Sheikh
hope
has
not.
promised him 2 more fights after this.
Name him.
That's what we need to talk about. You got
No,
to
we don't.
understand one thing. Canelo Alvarez has been promised 2 fights with Turki Ali Sheikh, right? Turki Ali just brought it up a day or two ago on the Ring Magazine Instagram page, right? So you have to ask yourself, with the kind of performance that Canelo just put up, which, look, it's not necessarily that Canelo performance was an aberration. It's something that's not typical. We know that's the same kind of fight that he had with William Skull. That's the same kind of fight, the very patient, very low output fight that he had against Berlanga and Jaime Munguia, right? This is the Canelo. This is not a one-off. This is not Canelo looking bad. No, he is the same guy that's been fighting like this at these heavier divisions, losing his output, losing his creative punch selection, and exchanging it for power and aggression, right? So we know this is the typical Canelo that we've seen for years now. So all props to Terence Bud Crawford that he was not able to cow down like the other fighters and backtrack. This guy walked him down, stood his ground, embarrassed the guy, and really hurt Canelo, right? Guys, you understand. I've been just playing devil's advocate the whole time.
No.
The things that I've been saying have been truthful. Yes, Terence Bud Crawford has never defended his undisputed status, never defended his lineal status. He's never put up those high stake
No
of fight.
one,
That is
no one
true.
defends that.
Wait,
Who
bro.
cares
We just
about those
you and this
things?
guy just you and this guy just were circle jerking each other. Last time I interrupted you, what did you
Dude, you
do?
were playing
You got
devil's
on your
advocate.
emotions. You got you on your emotions, and you ended up hanging up, Dream. So let me cook. I'm trying to present a question, not even trying to post an answer, not even an opinion. I'm trying to ask you a question. Canelo has 2 more fights. Canelo is the same guy that has fought like this. So all props to Terence Bud Crawford. He beat the guy that's been beating all these guys, even with those limitations, right? Now you can belittle the fighters that he's taken on and say, well, how can a fighter like that beat those guys when they're much bigger and so forth and so on? But the fact of the matter is that style of Canelo has gotten him to this point until he met a guy with a better style. Now, Canelo is a low output power puncher that has no punch creativity. His next fight cannot be his toughest fight because he has to be able to rebound. Turkey Ali Sheik cannot afford Canelo to lose 2 consecutive fights, having promised him 2 fights in total after this loss, because the last one has to be the clincher. The last one has to be a big money seller, not only for a possible retirement of Canelo, but because it might actually be a a redemption for Canelo. Should he fight somebody like Terence Bud Crawford in the rematch, right? That would be the best way for Canelo to end his career. He puts himself on the last fight of Terence Bud Crawford and him as the last fight promised by Turkey Ali Sheik, and he might win. I doubt it, but he might lose. And if he loses, then that seals the deal. And it is proven that Canelo has to walk off into the distance. But we're only speculating because we have to think about who does he fight next. And it cannot be a tough fight because Canelo has to win this one. And I want you guys to think about who is there at 168 that Canelo can fight that you would be interested in watching. And I can't think of any names, guys.
Hamza.
Okay. Are you interested in that one, homie Ricky? Or is that
No, I'm not interested, but I think that's who he fights next.
Yeah,
you're not interested in that?
I like the Hamza Shiraz fight for Canelo.
Yeah, I like it too. But why are you not interested, Dream?
I mean, I guess it's because he's been clipped before, and it's just a alley-oop for Canelo, you know. But I like Hamza.
Well,
as a
how do we
boxer.
know it's an alley-oop?
What? Alley-oop?
Kind of, but yeah, you're right. I guess that's why, because of Father Time, and he might lose as well. Like, there's a possibility of him losing to Hamza, getting kind of outboxed, but I don't know.
He's faster than them.
Yeah.
He has very good footwork. He throws a lot of combos. He obviously has power. He knocked out Edgar Berlanga when Canelo couldn't do that. Why would you not be interested in that fight, Dream?
I mean, there's like Canelo's just smarter than that, bro. Like, he's gonna find openings. Like, there's Amo Williams clipped him. Carlos Adames clipped him. Fucking who else clipped him? Oh, there's a couple of other guys. His last opponent clipped him, but he knocked him. Or who was his last opponent? Oh, no, not Berlanga. Never mind. Berlanga did not clip him. But yeah, dude. Like, there's still, like, if those guys can clip and hurt Hamza, then I think Canelo can do it as well. It's just,
but maybe that's what Canelo needs, just to, like, because he hasn't gotten a knockout in a really long time. So maybe that's kind of what it needs. But even then, what's his name? He presents some challenges that Canelo, at this age, if you guys saying that he's Father Time, he might not have that urge. He might not find those punches. He might not be willing to walk a fool down and find those punches or fucking really dig it out like he used to in the past. So that fight might be really tricky. They can do it in Saudi Arabia. Look, man, I would like to see Canelo fight rematch Bud Crawford. But before you rematch Bud Crawford, I wouldn't mind seeing a David Benavidez or a Shiraz. And if we can't get David Benavidez or a Shiraz, then it's like, who else is there for Canelo to fight? Is there an up-and-coming Mexican that he would want to fight? I don't know. But I wouldn't mind seeing a Bud Crawford fight and see if he can make any adjustments. I don't think Canelo would, though, because he hasn't shown it for a while. I think Bud Crawford might even be a little more like, all right, I outboxed you. Let me see if I can really hurt you.
Yeah.
So I would be interested in that, because where does Crawford go from this? That he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna fight Carlos Adames or Johnny Beck, and I'm gonna get paid $100 million. He won't, but he might get paid $100 million for Canelo to run it back. There's not much, unless the other history would be Crawford fights Bivol and Canelo fights David Benavidez. Some shit like that might make sense, you know? Zeke the Sneak goes, if you're gonna act like Crawford didn't run 11 rounds, the only round he didn't run was the 9th round where he failed his arms in 30 seconds. Crip Ford basically fought like Oscar did versus Trinidad. Only Oscar was called the runner, but somehow Cripford isn't. Look, man, I thought Oscar the Lawyer also beat Felix Trinidad, but I think that was a little more running because he didn't really throw punches in the championship rounds. Cripford, what the fuck? Crawford actually threw punches against Canelo at the very end, right? Hey, he goes, Zeke the Sneak goes, he goes, Why is Cook Ricky glazing Crawford? So Cook Ricky, he thought Crawford out. Fucking guy, dude. Nah, man, like,
and actually,
I
you know
didn't
what?
want to glaze Crawford, bro. Like, I'm not even the biggest Crawford fan. You know what I mean? But you gotta call it up and down what it is. This dude then fought for a year. He basically is turning 38 like in 5 days. He moving up 14 pounds. And fucking Canelo, bro, there was no orgullo, bro. There was no fucking urgency. The motherfucker didn't come to fight, bro. Like, he didn't want to throw punches. He didn't want to go out on his shield. He didn't want to, like, where's that Margarito in them? Motherfucking Canelo played it safe. He's like, I ain't getting knocked down 7,000 people. He fucking admitted defeat. I've never seen him admit defeat. Even against Floyd Mayweather, motherfucker cried at the end. He was throwing punches towards the very end. Couldn't find the motherfucker, but he was urgent, bro. Against Bivol, yeah, he laid on the ropes, but he was still fighting. Against Crawford, he acquiesced. He fucking was like, I'm going to put my ankles to my ears. I'm done. I was like, nah. He tapped out, bro. Like, I've never seen Canelo look so defeated. And he showed me in that fight, and I was like, Crawford is that dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he is, bro. Like, he's that dude, bro. Like, he just, I don't know. He just imposes his will on you, bro. Like, he just does what he wants. And he's just fucking just a smart, one of the smartest dudes in the ring of all time, bro. Like, you got to give it to him, bro. Like, now it's like at 168, if he can beat Canelo, like, I really am curious to see like him against like a Mobili, you know, but he's very knockoutable. But I want to see that, you know, and he's capable of doing those type of things, bro. Just insane that we're talking about Crawford fighting at 168. You know, and that's like, dude, this Benavidez does not want to move down to 168, I think, bro. I haven't seen no videos of him saying nothing like that, but yeah, dude, they're even saying like maybe a Bivol, but I think a Bivol would give him the toughest time. You know, I think he can outbox. I think he can outbox an Arthur Beterbiev, but I think he can. But, you know, like those guys are 175 pounders, bro. Like I don't know.
I would like
I
to
don't
see David, bro. David versus Canelo, bro. I would like to see David versus Canelo. If David Benavidez can beat Canelo, then I would like to see David fight Beterbiev. If David can beat Beterbiev, Bivol's only gonna get a little older. Then he can be like, okay, I can take Beterbiev's power. And then I want him to fight Bivol. Because Bivol's gonna present different challenges than Canelo and Beterbiev. Beterbiev and Canelo, they're not really gonna run. Beterbiev circles out from time to time, but Bivol, you know, is gonna be in and out, circling and pivot. And David, being flat-footed, he's gonna have a hard time finding him. You know, and Bivol throws straight punches. So the high guard, he'll be able just to keep David, you know, just blocking and blocking. And you know, Bivol don't tire out, bro. He'll, like, I've never seen, I think Bivol was the only fighter that I seen throw like a 10-punch combination against Canelo when Canelo was up against the ropes. Even Bud Crawford didn't do that. I think Bud probably threw 7-punch combination. But yeah, man, there's a lot of fights that these fighters could fight. Canelo still got fights in them. But at this age, especially at this style, where he only wants to throw even less and less punches, he's got to fight guys that are really just going to stand there, like Jaime Munguia, like an Edgar Berlanga. You know, he should not be having to fight, you know, William Scholes, Bud Crawford, Jermell Charlos, guys that are going to move. That style is all wrong for Canelo. It has been when he was 22 years old, has been when he's 30 years old, and even now at 35. He just refuses to show athletic feet. He's got ugly feet. You know, he don't want to bounce. He don't want to feint with the feet. He don't want to give us no Pacquiao. He don't want to fight like Bivol or Madrimov. And sometimes you just got to learn. See, everyone talks about, oh, Canelo learned so much from Floyd Mayweather. Well, what did Canelo learn from Bivol? How come he didn't implement anything and steal a little bit of style of Bivol?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the hardest puncher that Floyd Mayweather fought? And is that fighter comparable to the hard-hitting of Arthur Beterbiev, who Biv will beat. Because I think who Biv will beat and Beterbiev is far more impressive than any 147-pound fighter that Floyd Mayweather fought. The hardest puncher that he fought probably was Marcos Maidana.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
And that guy's nowhere near the hard-hitting, those big-ass Wolverine fucking knuckles on both hands of Beterbiev.
Got knocked out by Khan.
Oh, he got hit by the body shot by Khan, but he got back up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if Canelo's so fucking smart, what did he learn from Floyd Mayweather that he implemented fights before? Did Canelo all of a sudden learn a shoulder roll? There was times that he showed it. Yeah, there was times. You know what I mean? Did Canelo learn the amazing jab that Floyd had? What about versus Bivol? What did he show? So Canelo has just, ever since he was young, he used to throw a lot of punches. They threw more quality shots. Maybe that's what you can say that he learned. He didn't want to waste more punches. So I don't know, man. I feel like Canelo still has a lot of fights left in him. But at this stage, you know, even guys like Hamza Shiraz that are very tall, lengthy, younger, you know, have something to prove. He's willing to circle out like he did against Carlos Adames. Even though I thought Adames beat Hamza, I think Canelo would find Shiraz. But even now, bro, I have a little bit of doubts.
Yeah.
You know, even Canelo said, he was like, I just couldn't find my flow. I forgot what the word he said. He just said that. He goes, I just couldn't move. I just couldn't, you know, like basically get off.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's a credit to what Bud Crawford was doing. But I'm thinking to myself, like Drew said, is it father time? And if it is, and you're starting to have those doubts, you better stay the fuck away from these young fighters and find yourself, you know, some aging fighters that you can wail on, you know?
Yeah, because he's short. You know?
Yeah,
it ain't like he's George Foreman. Bro. Yeah, it ain't like he's George Foreman, you know, and he's like big as fuck, and you know, and can make a comeback. It's like, nah, dude, this guy Canelo's 5'8". He's gonna have to knock the guys out to win fights, and sometimes he's not gonna be able to find the shot. You know, it's gonna take more than 12 rounds to do that. But you know, so I think Hamza would be a good fight, I guess. You know, if they stack that card up, and I can see them doing that. You know, but with Crawford, bro, I'm hearing on the podcast, bro, that what's his name, Janibek, is backed by Turkey now, and
interesting.
Yeah, so now he's gonna actually offer him that fight to Crawford, you know, but only if David Benavidez can't make 68, you know. So that's like his plan, you know. I was like, oh shit. So I think he wants to make him a six division world champion, you know. So
Johnny Beck would be pretty good. I think Johnny Beck is also a little bit of, you know, he's a little flat-footed. He stands there. He's very crafty with his uppercuts, but I think he had a tricky fight in his last outing. So I don't know, man. Adam, salute to you. Zeke the Sneak says, bro, y'all talking like he put on a masterclass, but watch the first 3 rounds. Crawford did nothing. What are you talking about? Bro, play the first 3 rounds, no sound, and tell me what Crawford did. Good example. Bivol engaged Beterbiev way more than Crawford engaged Canelo, yet people say Bivol lost to Arthur. Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. The first 2 fights of those dudes is very tough to score. I thought the first fight, Beterbiev won. I thought the second fight, Bivol closed out the show. I think it was fair, man. I think how they scored it was very fair. I even could see Beterbiev winning, but Bivol did close out the championship rounds because in the first fight, he basically pulled the Oscar de la Hoya. I thought he gave the championship rounds away, but that's tough, man. I would love to see a trilogy between those two, but even then, I'm kind of excited to see if Bivol will move up to the next weight class and cruiserweight rather than light heavyweight, whatever the case may be, and fight the winner of Zurdo and Jairo Patay. There's so many things. I want to see if Bivol is really a pound-for-pound fighter because he's only been in one weight class. At one point, he said that he would go to 168 and fight Canelo for his titles. Will he go to 168 to fight Bud Crawford now that he has the titles? So, Triple G used to say some shit similar. Well, I don't think he necessarily said it. I think it was Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez said, oh, yeah, we can go to 154 and all the way to 168. But when fighters called Triple G out, he only remained at 160. So I want to see Bivol's skills really be put to the test. Will he go down or will he go up and test himself with these other great fighters? I'm not saying that Bivol isn't skillful. I'm not saying at 175. I respect what he's done. But let's call it what it is. Archer's much older. He fights once a year. He's always has injuries and surgeries. Canelo moved up to 175, and Bivol has remained there. So I don't know how good Bivol is. I don't know how good Jermell Charlo is. Even though he stayed at 154 and became undisputed, he hasn't really challenged himself in these other weight classes. Once Jermell did at 168, he didn't look that empowering. Bivol looks good at 175, but will he look good at 168? Cruiserweight? I don't know. So, we put these fighters on the pound for pound list because they're unified or undisputed. And I get it. That's a fair criteria and judgment to, you want to accept and verify these fighters. But pound for pound means you're doing it in multiple pounds, up and down. See, Usyk did it, and then he did it at heavyweight. Canelo's done it in multiple weight classes. So that's how you can rate it by definition. Mm-hmm. Zeke the Sneak goes, so tell me how people accept Bivol and Betterfree being draws as close when it was a mirror of Canelo versus Crawford. Even like those fights, even Betterfree versus Bivol, they both played it very safe because they respect each other's skills. How does the Bivol say skills? They respect each other's skills. So Betterbeef didn't go for broke, and neither did Bivol. They were very calm. It was a very high-quality chess match. I don't even think those fights are all that great as people want to put them out. But nevertheless, when it comes down to the nuances of the sport, Betterbeef and Bivol, is almost like a mirror fight. Betterbeef does it in a certain way, a little more powerful, a little more slower than Bivol, but Bivol does the same thing, and he does these little things where if he shoots his 1-2, with the hand controls the bicep or holds the bicep of Betterbeef, so he gets tied up shooting his 2. There's a lot of crafty things, and I think Bud did the same thing to Canelo as well. Adam goes, I would have to agree. I don't necessarily think Crawford had a masterclass, although I think he won the fight. I had to watch it again. I just know that for Crawford being inactive, for Crawford moving up 14 pounds, Crawford not looking that good against Betterbeef, Madrimov, Crawford struggling with fighters like Mexican fighters like Ray Beltran, struggling versus Jose Benavidez and going the distance. I was shocked how Canelo couldn't really muster any offense and implement his size. And I was like, dang. And that's what I was mostly shocked about. I know a couple of the rounds were close. It was like a small margin. It's not like Crawford dominated him like all crazy where Canelo was bruised and cut and his nostrils was flying this and the mouthpiece was flying the other way. No, it wasn't like that. But what everybody was saying, the context, he's much better than when he fought Floyd Mayweather. He's a much better fighter than when he fought Floyd. He's much bigger and stronger and all these things, and he's fought better guys like Bivol and knocked out guys like Kovalev. He's going to really hurt Crawford. I didn't see nothing of that in this 12 rounds, and I was like, 9-3 Crawford. Even though close rounds, I would favor more to Crawford because he was making his fight, and Canelo looked frustrated. Not one moment did I see Bud Crawford break character, and there was much more telling moments when Canelo was being flustered, and it was like, damn, it's just not my night.
Yeah, and you have to understand,
watch Betterbeef react to Bivol running in the last fight. He had the same reaction Canelo did. No, I agree. Adam goes, I wonder if Bivol would go down to 168 to fight Crawford. I know I would like to see that at a certain aspect as well, but I don't think Bivol will entertain it. Because sometimes fighters just talk. Oh, Bivol goes, I'm not a big guy. I can go down to 168. Triple G said the same thing. Hey, Max, look at me. I'm a big guy, But I'm just like, you're also not a small guy either. Zeke the Sneak goes, Arthur fought exactly like Canelo did in both fights, yet he gets praised. Watch again and come back and tell me I'm wrong. No, yeah, man. Just to be a little fair and be a little neutral, Canelo did good. I just wanted more. I wanted a knockdown. I wanted him to land combinations. And I didn't see none of that. There was no urgency. Like I try to tell you, the atmosphere, 70,000 people there in Las Vegas. The Raiders Stadium. 48 million people watching on Netflix. From both guys, I can understand it from Crawford. He's older, he's moving up in weight. But I wanted to see what Lester Martinez and then Billy did. That's the type of onus. That's the type of bravado, el machismo that I needed Canelo to bring, that intensity to let them know, hey, a great guy beats a small little guy. I didn't see that. I didn't see that hunger, that passion, that desire. You know, it felt like somebody just sucked the atmosphere out of that area, and there was one man in the ring, Crawford. It was like I'm watching basically a Floyd Mayweather performance all over again. And I didn't even think Canelo performed that bad against Floyd Mayweather. I was like, yeah, you're doing pretty good. You're trying to land all these hard shots on his face, but first take apart his arms. Take apart that jab. Let me see you do some stuff that I haven't seen before. And I was like, nope, you're not throwing the right hooks. You're not throwing the left hooks. Did you not study the Oscar de la Hoya tape and how he excelled versus Floyd? And I was just like, But Adam goes, it doesn't as big now. But if Canelo wants his flowers back, he's got to fight Benavidez and beat him. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. I would agree.
Yep.
If he, that's the best sentence for sure. If he wants people to forget about this performance, he has to fight Benavidez. He has to hurt Benavidez and knock him out. And I think he could actually do that. Benavidez will stand there and exchange. I don't really see Benavidez circling around and running left and right, and if we want to call it that, but that will be to Benavidez's detriment. If he wants to pass into the torch as the next Mexican American to hold it down, then that's what he's gonna have to do. But to be honest with you, I don't know if Canelo would reward us with that fight. He hasn't for many of these years. That fight is a much easier fight than this Crawford fight, and he's reluctant. It's kind of like when Floyd Mayweather only wanted to fight Latino fighters and make them rich, but he never wanted to fight another black fighter and make them rich. Canelo doesn't want to fight. Well, he fought Jaime Munguia. I guess I can take that back. But these guys were probably buddy before. But yeah, Canelo hasn't wanted to fight like a Mexican fighter, and like really, because Canelo has said, guys, when I say I don't want to fight Mexicans, it's because I represent Mexico. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? All the best wars are when Mexicans fight other Mexicans. Yeah, Juan Manuel Marquez and Rocky Juarez and, Barrera versus Morales and Rafa Marquez versus Israel Vasquez. When these fucking guys square up, it's the best moments. Oscar de la Hoya, Chavez Sr. It's like, what are you talking about? When I Mexican, I represent Mexico. Like, no, bro. When you fought Chavez Jr., yes, there was some divisiveness between the Mexican fans, but guess what? They still came out and showed out, and they were like, yeah, I'm proud. When Showtime had Canelo fight Josecito Lopez and HBO had Chavez Jr. fight Sergio Maravilla on two opposite, Showtime and HBO networks on the same night, people still tuned out for both events. So lately, Canelo's been using these certain words and phrases that themselves cause a certain confusion because we haven't really seen Mexicans talk like that. And Canelo, he suits the narrative that suits it, but it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with what you said, Adams. If people want to forget this, all he has to do is fight David Benavidez, the Mexican monster.
Yeah, and that'll do it, bro. Like, that'll be like All right, bro. Like you kind of you like we forgive you, but like I think he still goes to the Hall of Fame regardless, you know. But I think he needs
No,
to
for
fight
sure.
David. He needs to fight David, and he needs to and that I don't see any other fight. I mean, Hamza's just a dangerous, high risk, low reward fight because I mean, no one knows who Hamza is, you know. But they're just gonna probably give him a lot of money for it, though, you know. But yeah, I think we all want David, bro. Doesn't matter. Like Bivol rematch. I mean, that's a risky fight for Canelo, bro. Like, I don't know if he can beat him, bro. Like, regardless of the weight class, it's just
Yeah,
styles.
I don't
It's
think he
just
can beat Bill either.
yeah, it's just and then Beterbiev was just another version of David, but it Russian. No one knows who he is, you know. So it's just like he's just another come forward guy like David, but David, we want David, you know. So
I could be wrong, but Turkey Ali Sheik said David Benavides and Crawford. Like in one of his his tweets or his on the Ring Magazine Instagram page or whatever's. And then I was watching an interview when they asked Bomac, and Bomac was like, "Yeah, we ain't fighting no David," you know. So again, because David's like 6'3", he's got long arms. Those advantages Bud Crawford wouldn't have on a matching fighter like Canelo. Is kind of equal height, but even Bud is a little taller, more rangier. But yeah, I don't know if that fight will happen. But it would be nice though. I wouldn't mind seeing that. See if Bud Crawford has more tricks up his sleeves. I'm sure he would against taller fighters. Because I think, to my knowledge, there's only been one fighter that's been taller than Bud Crawford, and that was Victor Posto. I think Victor is
mhm.
like 5'10", 5'11", right? And
Yeah,
everybody else, Bud Crawford. You can probably say Errol Spence. Errol Spence probably like 5'10", 5'11" as well. Crawford's like what, 5'8", 5'9".
yeah,
So there hasn't been many fighters where Bud Crawford doesn't have advantages in terms of his arms, and the way he uses his arms is the much similar how Demetrius Andrade would use his rangy ass long arms. He would fight like a tarantula, bro. He would throw these hooks from like Timbuktu from fucking distance, and you're like,
mhm,
smacking you. And Bud Crawford, even when he fought Canelo in the pocket, he would kind of lean and tilt and squat and let Canelo fire, and then boom, 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 slap him with those Demetrius Andrade hooks. But yeah, no, man. Let me see. I think David would be too big for Crawford. I don't think they will entertain that fight. And I would love the build up though, because David can be like, yeah, bro, I gotta get my blood back. He knocked out my brother. It hurt me seeing him. Bud Crawford's a great fighter, but he's got those fucking titles that I need. Like, bro, it would be a good build up. And then Bud can be like, yeah, well, I'm gonna beat you up like I also beat your brother. So keep running your mouth, blah blah blah. Because if you remember, see, I wish I was on my computer, not rather than my phone. But Jose and Bud were saying some pretty awful shit when they were talking about. They're like, your mom's a bitch. They were saying a
mhm.
bunch of crazy shit. Do you remember all that?
Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, they were saying
That's
some
for sure.
wild stuff, and then they
I
got
know.
in the ring and they're about to throw it down. Like that was
Yeah,
true animosity.
yeah,
And anyway, bro. So like, if I'm David, I would rather go fight Bud Crawford than fighting a Better Beef or a Bivol. But either way, I think David, if he wants to be a Hall of Famer, he has to get both those fights. He has to become undisputed in this era where guys like Naoya, Usyk, Crawford, Canelo, Josh Taylor, Jermell, that they're doing amazing things and challenging themselves. You can almost say that David Benavides hasn't really challenged himself. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, and he looks kind of vulnerable. Like at 175, he doesn't look as dominant as he did at 168.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just I don't know. Like I want to see him and the top guys. I want to see him versus Bivol, him versus Beterbiev. You know, and those are the three guys that are like, uh, number one right now. Like that can, one of those guys are gonna be at the top, and I think it's gonna be Bivol out of those three guys. Like I don't think David because David thinks he kind of got the best of Dimitri Bivol in sparring. But I'm like, nah, I'm not buying it. Like I think he doesn't get what Bivol does throughout 12 rounds. He, constantly, you know, imposes like his jabs, like, and he's like pretty consistent with his output. Like it's the same output throughout the whole fight. And he kind of maintains a good composure, and he has another higher level of IQ than David does.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So it's just David probably thinks he's stronger than him, faster than him, but it don't matter. He knows how to go in and out, and you're flat footed. So yeah, and you're not hitting like Arthur Betterby. You know,
Yeah.
Arthur Betterby was hitting a lot harder, and
I know David.
he's gonna be able to eat David's punches. Yeah, go ahead.
Got you. I know David's a big guy, but could he be a dedicated fighter? And imagine seeing him like at 154 versus what's the other tall kid? The Cuban Mexican kid is like 6'6". Sebastian Fundora. Imagine
Yeah.
David Benavidez versus Fundora, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I don't think David is a big guy. I think his midsection is big. I think he doesn't have Manny Pacquiao calves. He doesn't have Arthur Betterby muscles. He's just a big guy because, when he was like 15, 14 years old, he weighed 250 pounds. So he's not really a big, strong, physical dude. He's just a heavy dude. You know what I mean? So it's going to be because he's not really built with muscles like that. You know what I mean? So I just think to myself, it's like, bro, if this guy was like truly dedicated, he should probably be fighting at 154, 160. Because when you compare him with Beterbiev Bivol and Alexander Gvozdyk, David Benavidez looks tiny, man. Even against David Morrell, he looked tiny. At 168, David did look big, but he wasn't like muscular big. He just looked like he ballooned up 20, 30 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like when David Benavidez cuts weight, yeah, he does look all sucked up. He doesn't look good. Like, oh shit, he looks really bad. He looks like his face is going through a lot of fatigue. You can see it in his eyes. But I'm just like, but you're not really like, because we're normally accustomed to seeing fighters very thin all around. You don't really see them with like Arthur Betterby muscles because those muscles don't really translate and make you heavy. You know what I mean? It doesn't really translate to, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Warp Speed goes. Good night, everyone. I got a championship qualifier travel baseball game tomorrow at 8 a.m. Until next time, Adam goes. Take it easy, Warp Speed. Yeah, man, it is getting pretty late. We've been talking about for 2 hours and 30 minutes, man. Yeah, there's so much implications. The Mexican goes, vamos, David. Look, there's so many things, so many fights that can arise. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know where Crawford and Canelo go if it isn't a rematch. I mean, where else are they going to get paid that amount of money if it ain't fighting one another, or let's say like a Jake Paul or another fantasy fight? Because this is kind of what it was. It was a fantasy fight. We were never entertaining, and I don't think Canelo was ever entertaining a Crawford fight. At one point, they asked him about Errol Spence many years back when Errol Spence was in his thing, and he was like, yeah, maybe. He entertained that, but Crawford was never in Canelo's horizon. And until, the Spence happened, and I'm sure people started talking more and more, and then when Jermell fight happened, so there's all these little things. All I hope is that whatever happened this past Saturday, that it changes the sport of boxing forever, and we can finally move on to fighters fighting each other, because legacy comes first, and then the money will soon follow. You see what I'm saying? Because for a really long time, it was all about, low risk, high reward. It was all about, being undefeated. It was always about me becoming a champion and cherry picking. But now, hopefully, when you go after legacy first and the titles by fighting the best, that the money will eventually get there. You know what I mean? Because when I look at what Bud's done with his career, post the Floyd Mayweather era, How many fighters do we know try to replicate the Mayweather code? Guys like Keith Thurman. How many times did Keith Thurman hurt the welterweight division? All these injuries, never fighting Errol Spence, got beat by Pacquiao. Pacquiao wasn't going to fight Errol. Then, Errol has an injury or a detached retina. Then Uga steps up. But how many times did Keith Thurman hurt that division? Hold it back. Because he was following the Mayweather blueprint, trying to age fighters out when he aged himself out type of shit. You know what I mean? So hopefully what Bud accomplished, and Canelo did as well, it's a turning stone, right? To what this next era of fighters are going to do. And what I mean by the next era of fighters, and not the ones that are out the door, I'm talking about Shakur, Ryan, Devin, Rolly, Teofimo Lopez. Hell, you can even say Arnold Barbosa. You can say Fundora, not Constantine Palomaro, but the guy that knocked out Tim Tszyu. That badass knockout artist. Murtazaliev, even Madrimov, Jaron Boots Ennis. Hopefully, this lights up like what these events could potentially be. If you take care of business and you make it to the public eye, which Netflix wasn't to the public eye. I know a lot of people watched it, but I want boxing back on local channels, bro. I want it on Fox. See, as American football, right, is going more on these streaming platforms like Amazon, Peacock, you have to have the Fox Sports app. Local channels needs content. Maybe it can bring boxing back to its heyday. I don't want to see Top Rank on Stars. Dude, I don't even know how many people watch or have Stars. I need them to go back to public television. Lock in. Don't overpay these fighters. Pay what they actually sell. And if they only sell X amount of tickets and they're only worth $25,000, then we got to do a better job in biting the bullet and then building something organic. You know what I mean? I'm tired of boxing being so exclusive. I mean, ever since we have the Zone, which fights on the Zone are you looking forward to? Can you name me 5? I can't even think of the top of my head. I don't even know what these last 3 months of the year in 2025, what does it look like? I know that there's going to be the Last Samurai event. I know Naoya Inoue is going to fight a guy named Picasso in December. And it's supposed to be like a Japan event in Saudi Arabia, but I don't even know, what the next calendar year or the last 3 remaining months look like. Is Jermell coming back? Is Errol coming back? Is Deontay Wilder fighting Andy Ruiz? Is Anthony Joshua fighting twice Tyson Fury? Like, there's so many fights that didn't get made in their prime that they potentially can be made now. Do we have to wait to 2026? Like, no, we don't. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of big fights that could happen. I just hope that because boxing is going to like a rocky, tumultuous time right now, I want them to really buckle down and like crunch down the numbers, crunch down the vision, the marketing.
Who's next?
Yeah, dude, like who's next? Canelo and Bud Crawford. Well, their skills, they can probably fight till 38, 42, 40 years old. But where is the next crop of young fighters? Where's Angelo Leo? Where's Ramirez, that 6'1" kid? Where's Nick Ball? Where's all of these guys? I know Nick Ball just fought Sam Goodman, but I'm like, we need these guys to fight not just once or twice a year. They need to be fighting 6 times a year, bro.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, that's really the reality, bro. If the fighters of past years can fight, damn near twice a month, why can't the modern fighter today fight like that? Why do you guys have to train 4 months? Why do you guys have to have fat camps? If you're active in the gym and you constantly have 4, 5, 6 fights a year, like you did when you were coming up, like an Abdullah Mason, like an Emiliano Vargas, right? You're in the gym all the time. You're fighting. You have proper scheduling. These football players, right? Yeah, they only probably play football for 6 months, and the other 6 months they're resting. But they're battling, giving each other concussions, hitting and tackling with each other's head every Sunday. Sometimes a 3-4 day turnaround, and they're playing on Thursday night football. Why can't boxing do the same thing? I don't know, man. Like, it needs to be more planned. There has to be more hustle and drive to these motherfuckers, bro. Like, it's like, if you were paying me, if I had the skills, the balls, and the chin to be getting paid $1 million for 36 minutes of a boxing match, I'm fighting once a month. At 1 million, I'm getting 12 million in 1 year. The next year, because I fought 12 and I pitched the shutout, went 12-0. The next year, it goes 2 million a fight. And if I fight 12, now I just made 24 million in 1 year. And the next year, if I go to, 12-0, in my third year, if I keep that same pace at 1 fight a month, and you keep implementing another $1 million increase, I'm going to make 36, and it just keeps on multiplying. These guys need more drive, bro. They make $1 million. Yes, congratulations. You became a $7 million figure fighter. A $7-figure dollar fighter. You became a champion. That's amazing. That's an accomplishment. But there's more. There's more. And I just want these fighters to have more drive in them, because that's what makes boxing great. Not just fighting once or 2 times a year. You need to fight more. That's what makes football, basketball, baseball so like ubiquitous and like prevalent, right? Is that there's actually a proper schedule. These boxers need more exposure. How do you get more exposure? Well, you go more into the public eye, doing your craft, which is what? Fight more often. Where did we get so comfortable? I'm only fighting 2 times a year. Mayweather could do that because he was getting $30 million per fight. Canelo could do that because that's what he's getting paid per fight. If you're not making 30 million as a fighter, you have to ask yourself, how do I do that? It ain't going to be because you fight twice a year. Those are only microscopic circumstances of fighters that can only do that. The Mike Tysons, the Muhammad Ali's, the Joshuas, the Furies. Not everybody could do that. So you have to get to that stage. How do you get to that stage? Every fighter has a different path to it. Some guys, it takes Crawford 38 years. Canelo can do it at the age of 22. Tank can do it at the age of 30. Ryan Garcia does it at the age of 27. But you have to have more exposure. And hopefully Turkey is able to crunch down those numbers, whether he does it with his UBO leagues and all these things that they're trying to implement. I just need to see more change to get more inspired. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I need to see more visibility, bro. Like, I don't know who or when. Oh, Michaela Mayer is fighting this weekend, bro. And we don't
Oh,
even know
nice.
anything about it. We don't even know anything about it. It's a top rank card. It's like, dude, what the hell's going on? Like, it's not televised or nothing, bro. It's like, how are we gonna know what's gonna happen? So yeah, man, it sucks. And also, Turkey's over here promoting his own guys, like the Muhammad guy, Alec. I forget his name, but he's been on every single card, bro, for the past 2 months, bro. It's just, what about the Carmel Motons of the world, bro? Like, I know that's a Floyd situation, but there's other guys like, I don't know, Jordan Fuentes, maybe like you know,
Jordan.
yeah, remember that dude?
Yeah. No, I hear
Yeah,
you. I hear you.
yeah, but it's just like, man, where are these guys at, man? Like,
Yeah, no,
uh,
very true. Hey, I was gonna ask you something.
mm,
It's still boxing related, but where do we get boxing cards, bro? Because you know how Topps came out with their boxing cards.
yeah,
Where do we get those at?
on the
I mean, I
Panini
haven't actually
website.
searched. It's probably like eBay and stuff like that, but I haven't like, have you bought in yourself some or no?
I was looking at them. Yeah, they were.
Are they expensive?
Huh? No, they're like. I think they're like less than $100, man. And
God,
if
that's
they're
expensive, bro. Like, I thought you were gonna say less than
less,
$20.
nah, they're for the big packs. I mean, but I'm pretty
Oh,
sure they
okay.
sell like the smaller ones.
I want to get a
Because they're.
Canelo signature card, bro, or Naoya. Imagine that shit.
Oh, dude, they have a Ruben Villa auto.
And that shit was going for like $700.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude, it was going to. Well, I mean, that's what they had put it on like eBay and stuff. But like, imagine getting a
Uh,
Canelo Alvarez signature, a Bud Crawford, hell, even my
oh,
guy Errol Spence, a Tyson Fury, or Usyk, a Lomachenko. Shit, imagine.
damn.
I gotta get my computer fixed. But so I can run the screen, so I can start doing like Google searches, like what we used to do back in a couple months ago. But Look, man, do you have anything else to wrap it up, Dream? Because bro, I'm fucking falling asleep, bro. My contacts are drying up. My nose is congested. I got this sick ass cough. Like, have you been hit with the flu bug or nah?
Nah, not yet, man. I'm next, but
I'm next.
but yeah, nah, dude, it's just Crawford's a goat, man. The people gotta recognize what he just did. He put on the right amount of weight. He put it on the right way, like not the right way, but like he put it on good. You know, like he
Yeah.
didn't. He wasn't top heavy. He wasn't pudgy. Like he wasn't. You know, like he was the best version of himself, bro. And it's just crazy how he just put on the weight and just did what he just did. And people don't, it's just hard for the casual to recognize that, but um the fact that we called, they were calling Crawford the GOAT if he beats Canelo is what made this fight big. And it's the green print, but it was a good night of boxing, man. Also, that Christian Mabili fight was a freaking war, bro. That was a war, man.
Yeah, that was
But
amazing, bro. That Lester Martinez and Billy. I think
yeah.
Turkey said that he was gonna try to run it back, which is amazing. Man, there was some prospects on the undercard that were really good too. Like there was this fighter from Saudi Arabia. There was this who was being trained by Abel Sanchez. In fact, I think Turkey had two fighters from his region that were trained by Abel Sanchez, but there was this mean ass kid, and he was fighting like a morenito, pero es Latino. And oh dude, he was mean, bro. I think he was like 18 years old throwing these haymakers, and he was like, he even apologized to Turkey because he was shooting for the knockout and he couldn't get it. But
Mm.
I was just like, nah, bro, you're a fucking tough and explosive dude. I gotta look after his name. But nah, man, I thought the undercard was great for the lack of quote unquote big names that it didn't have. Lester Martinez and Billy, they held it down. The guy Adams versus Sergey Bohachuk, that was a very entertaining fight as well. The co-main event, even though Car Wash beat, you know, Fernando Vargas Jr., I thought Fernando Vargas Jr. looked good. I thought he was going to get knocked out by Callum Wash because everybody was expecting him to be all great Freddie Roach fighter. Bro, he doesn't even have a jab. All he was throwing was left hooks. It looked like he seemed a little gun shy with Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas was a little explosive. Yes, he probably lost all those rounds, but I was like, bro, not bad. For a guy who just barely started boxing and like was doing construction, not being a full-time, Olympian, contender like Callum Wash, I was like, he's pretty good. I was like, that's not bad. But I was more impressed with Vargas than I was with Callum Wash because of the expectations. I was watching the interview, right, with El Gallo, with Gabriel Rosado and Abner Mares when they were interviewing Callum Wash, and they were uplifting this dude like he was so good. Callum Wash was like, he was talking his rah-rah stuff. Like, he was like, look, man, no disrespect to Fernando Vargas. I know him. We used to spar together. We used to train at the same gym, but I'm on to bigger and better things. This fight is not really going to determine who it is in terms of like if he loses, but it's just like what I imagine myself being is all these great things. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I like it, Callum. I like it. And then when I saw his performance, I'm like, yo, Callum, you seem a little gun shy. You're way bigger than him. You have wider body. You have longer arms. You clearly hit harder than Fernando, but all you know how to do is throw hooks. Where's
Right.
your uppercuts? Where's your 1-2? He didn't really have a 1-2. And I'm like, bro,
Uh,
how are you an Olympian and all of these amazing things and a 10-time national champion and you don't have a 1-2 down the middle? You
yeah.
have good hooks, but I'm like, Vargas is taking them away. Just because Vargas looks like a 147, 154 pounder, not necessarily a middleweight, I'm like, he's not supposed to go the distance with you. So I was pretty impressed with Fernando Vargas Jr. more so than Callum Wash. That co-main event was a little bit of a dud. Given the fact how amazing Lester Martinez and then Billy was, that should have been the co-main. I don't know why Turkey didn't flip the tables on that, because if you have Lester Martinez and Billy the co-main, bro, people's blood is fired out, and then Callum Wash and Fernando, they kind of stunk up the joint. And for all intents and purposes, what Zeke the Sneak was saying, the Canelo Crawford fight was also a little underperforming from both fighters. But, of course, Crawford had to make his fight the way he did because all of those quote unquote advantages that Canelo was gonna have. But yeah, no, man. I gotta check out for Michaela Mayer. Going back to speed, I gotta go support my little nephew on his tournament. It's the last final games for the championship tournament, so we got to do a little bit of travel baseball. But so I'll probably miss the Michaela Mayer fight. But yeah, man, I'm really excited, bro. I really did get inspired by the fact that in the United States we can have stadium fights. I know Canelo had a stadium fight versus Billy Joe Saunders and the Dallas, Texas stadium, right? The Dallas Cowboys. And now he's doing the Raiders one. But I'm just curious to see if this inspires guys like Andy Ruiz, even though he hasn't fought in a really long time. But the next crop of fighters, whether it's Abdullah Mason, whether it's Emiliano Vargas, whether it's, all of these other Carmel Moultons, even Tank Davis or Chris Stevens, Teofimo, if you fight each other and the best, maybe 48 million people watch you on Netflix. But if you price yourself out, if you don't try to play and get along with people and you try to create this divide and conquer divisiveness and Showtime versus HBO and all of these and now work in unison together. Remember, we're stronger together than we are separate. And if boxers and promoters can get out of their way and Turkey doing business. And that's one thing I'll give Canelo all this credit. Canelo does business with everybody. Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, Turkey Al-Sheikh, PBC. I think the only promoter that Canelo has never done business with is Bob Arum. But that's one thing that I like about Canelo is that business is business. You know what I mean? And money talks. And that's probably why Canelo has had a lot of success. Because he fought all of those guys with Eddie Hearn and beat his champions. Then he went to the other side with PBC and beat their champions, right? Caleb Plant became undisputed, comes back with Turkey, fights guys like Bud Crawford and all these things. Canelo's a great businessman because he works with everybody. He never closes a door. I don't know if Bob Arum has any fighters for him that will, interest Canelo. I don't know if he would fight in Billy or, an Archer Better Beef. But shout out to Canelo for making these moments happen, bro. Even if you don't win, I'm not really one of those people that harp undefeated records. Everybody has their own path, and Canelo has really made his own. So shout out to him, even though I've been talking a lot of shit. I'm really proud of him and everything that he's done, even though I'm harsh. I'm harsh on him because I expect even greater things that he's accomplished. But he's accomplished amazing things. So don't ever think that I'm not a Canelo fan. I am. Might not be my favorite fighter, but he isn't one that I dislike. Adam goes, I thought Vargas Jr. looked pretty good too. Boxing cards would be cool as fuck. Leon Parr won a tough fight yesterday too. That Papic guy is tough. Man, I like Leon Parr. I didn't even know he fought. Damn, that one slipped under my radar, man. Yeah, I like Leon Parr. I thought he would do a little better versus Richard Hitchinson or Hutchins or Hitchins. I'm not too sure what's his last name, but I thought he was going to be much better because he looked very good against Subriel Matias. I actually went for Leon Paro, but I thought he was going to knock out Matias, and he won by decision. And I had this little parlay going, but, I got to just do money lines. I got to stop being specific. But, yeah, man, I'm glad Leon Paro got back on a winning streak. I'm not even going to lie. To this day, I still want to see George Kambosos versus Teofimo Lopez back.
Bro,
I need to see it, bro. I'm just I can accept what George Kambosos did. That was his night. But I want to see if he can do it again. Kind of like Andy Ruiz. We kind of called it that Andy would beat Joshua. But I got to see it, make sure that it's not a fluke. I need to see if you're consistent enough to follow up. And Andy fucking partied and got ass tattoos with Baby Bash and all of these dudes. And come on, amigo, what you doing? George Kambosos, I need to see if he can beat Teofimo Lopez all over again. Because some guys just have your number, like Ryan Garcia. Might just have Devin Haney's number. But Rolly Romero, even in sparring, has Ryan Garcia's number. And when he fought him in the match, boom, boom. You got a left hook. Oh, that's sweet, Ryan. Now watch mine. Boom, boom. Taste that leather, homie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some dudes just have your number. And Rolly has Ryan and Ryan has Devins. But I need to see if it, if you can follow it up and do it 2 times. I know that Vince Vargas said that he wanted to see Ryan Garcia back into the ring. And in one, and Adam goes, Brandon Adams has Bohachuk's number. Absolutely. Bohachuk was winning the first fight, and then boom, Adams lands a fucking punch and knocks out Bohachuk. And then he follows it up and be like, I don't have to just knock you out. I can just beat you. And he beat him. He did. He was working him to the body. Oh, man. Shout out to Brandon Adams. That shit was a filthy performance. And shout out to Bohachuk, man. That motherfucker he can tolerate some pain, man, because I'm like, I don't even know what makes him keep standing with all those liver punches. But going back to Ryan Garcia and Vince wanting to watch him, if there's one fighter that I don't want to see ever again, really, is Ryan Garcia. He's very disrespectful, very ungrateful. I don't like his bipolarism. I don't like how 1 minute he says this and he's like, I'm just kidding. And because he has such a big following, people take his word like his gospel. I hate the fact that he's a wannabe Christian. I hate his scriptures. Everything that he says is like, bro, if you're this holy man, but you do all this fucking asinine, crazy things, and the boy that cried wolf and all, it's just, I don't, and I hate how people give him a pass. Oh, it's just Ryan. He's just, he don't mean those things. No.
Yeah.
Like, no. This is a guy that has never became a champion. This is a guy that is an 18-time national champion. And Rolly Romero, who only had maybe like 10, 11 amateur fights, on paper is a 3-time division champion. 135, 140, and hell, maybe even 147. That's supposed to be Ryan. Ryan didn't fight Devin Haney at 135. He cheated him at 144. His childhood friend, where they used to train in the Olympic centers, and they used to drive together and compete and had this growing up nice friendly rivalry. You cheated essentially one of your best friends. You could have damn near killed Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? And if there's one guy that I don't want to see ever fight again, it's probably Ryan Garcia. I don't ever want him to make money off the sport of boxing. If there's one guy that doesn't deserve anything, it's probably Ryan Garcia, bro. Like, that's one guy I wouldn't want to see. I don't want him to badmouth one of my childhood heroes in Oscar de la Hoya. I hate how, dude, that's one guy I really dislike. Everything about him, bro.
Yeah, no, for me, I don't really care for him either, bro. Like, he can retire, and I don't really care for it because he never really developed, as a fighter, bro. Like, he never really developed a good jab. I mean, I don't know. He just he just had a hook, bro. That's it. I mean, he's just like a one-trick pony kind of. So, I don't know. It's just, I never really cared for him. I never understood his hype. But yeah, man, it's just, he never became a champion, which sucks, man. So, I'm trying to think of a fighter right now who I wouldn't want to have.
I want to see more of Emiliano Vargas. I want to see more of Fernando Vargas Jr. I thought I was pretty impressed with him versus Callum Walsh. I want to see more of Amado. Like you said, I want to see more of Steven Navarro, Justin Fuentes, Joel Iriarte, who dropped Abdullah Mason twice when they fought in the amateurs. I want to see those guys that are respectful, that, are silent killers, so to speak, but also at the same time have potential. And they don't go out there and badmouth people, say one thing and then do the other. And then when they're in their face, they want to be buddy, like, and then behind the scenes, they're cheating you. Nah, I don't like people like that. So I know, Vince, you might like him, but like, there's one guy, Ryan, that I wouldn't want to see. I want to see my boy Ruben Villa back. I want to see Jorge Maravillo, Angel Chavez, Abdullah Mason. I want to see these guys Even Shushu Carrington. I want to see what these guys are able to amass as their future, in the process of developing. Of course, there's Devin Haney, Shakur, Teofimo Lopez, even Arnold Barbosa. But yeah, there's one guy that I would like for them to get out of the sport would be Ryan, bro.
Yeah, bro. Ryan could go, can leave, and also maybe honestly Tank, man. I mean,
Now that's another guy too, like
yeah, Tank. Like honestly, just go,
an
just retire.
exhibition with Jake Paul. What the fuck is he thinking, bro?
Yeah, just go, man.
Like, what,
Just
what are you thinking, bro? You have Shakur, you have Teofimo, you have Devin Haney, and you're fucking fighting Jake Paul in an exhibition match with these pillow ass gloves. Dude, what the fuck is
yeah,
wrong with that guy, bro?
yeah. He's done, bro. Like he doesn't want no competition. Like just let him be, bro. Like he thinks the amount of money is like he's earned a good amount of money, but I mean I don't think it's that like I think he should want more for real. Like I don't know. Like I'm not trying to be in his pockets, but if he wants to make it about money, like have you really made a comfortable amount? Like maybe you can just chill off the. I don't know if you can chill off the shit that you have because you keep. I don't know. Have spending habits like a motherfucker, but it's not like he's investing like Crawford. Crawford like talks about how he like owns like over 40 homes. In Omaha, like a whole neighborhood, and then he just owns like a bunch of like land and assets and stuff like that. And he doesn't even own like big like luxurious like like cars or nothing like that. He just has pickup trucks, bro. And I was like, damn,
Well,
just that's all he has.
because he knows what is truly truly has value in this world.
Yeah,
He realizes that land, properties, right? Things that are essential, things that are vital to developing, like no offense, but what is a Rolex watch going to do? Oh, it just shows that you flashy, that you got a little bit of money, you got some nice jewelry. But is that watch going, like, can you build something off that watch? Can that watch grow apples? No, but land could,
yeah.
right? You can build homes, you can build hotels, a Rolex can't do that. So that's
Hmm.
just a thing, right? Land is powerful. You can fertilize it, you can make it a big ass ranch, you can make it into greenhouses. So he understands, the important stuff in life. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying Tank doesn't, because that money that he's gonna get for Jake Paul. But it's like that's the difference of what we were talking about earlier about legacy. If you take care of business, the money will come after. Jake Paul, dude, he's gonna be 6'2". Tank is 5'5". One guy's probably gonna get close to 200 pounds. Tank might weigh, if he wants, close to 160, I guess. He's a small 135 pounder, but probably 150. So you're damn near spotting Jake Paul 50 pounds. Not even talking about the arm length. If you do land a good punch, like Floyd Mayweather landed on Logan Paul, these guys have a wrestling background, so they're just gonna grapple you. And because he's 50 pounds heavier, damn near a heavyweight, he's gonna fucking take out. And if you're worried, and if you were getting a word about being embarrassed by Shakur because these guys can outbox you who are your peers and equal to you, and they don't have all these advantages with height, arm length, and 50 pounds above you. Now you're fighting a dude that has, and for what? If you beat Shakur, if you beat Devin, if you beat Teofimo, Turkey was willing to make all those fights and probably pay you, and you probably have a great chance of knocking all these dudes out. Well, maybe not, but like beating them, than you do with a Jake Paul. Now, if you do get knocked out by Jake Paul in this exhibition match, that's going to be so horrible for him. Like, I don't know what he's doing, bro. Like, that's another guy that I'm just like, I know you're trying to do your own path, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, Floyd did that towards the end of his career. Conor McGregor, Logan Paul, Pacquiao, all of these dudes, right? he wasn't doing it in his prime. I think Oscar De La Hoya might have done it in his prime. I know there was an exhibition match where he fought Shaq. You know what I mean? But Shaq wasn't like a competing boxer for 5 or 10 years like Jake Paul has been doing it close to damn near. I don't know, bro. Tank is just like
He's
I don't
done,
really
bro.
like talking boxing anymore, bro, because some of these dudes just frustrate me, bro. I'm just like I get my blood pressure up, bro, and I'm only like 30 years old. I'm like, dude, this shit ain't worth it, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's just, you know, I don't know. It's just dudes that have been like in the stall, bro. Like Top Rank is out. Like they don't have a network, so like some of their guys haven't been fighting. It's like, bro, when are those guys gonna start fighting, man? But you know, you have Chop still there. Like there's a bunch of guys that haven't fought yet. It's just the zone is carrying like all the heavy weight, you know, and
Wait, who's Chop Chop? Chop Chop Corley? Who's Chop Chop?
Gonzalez. I mean Gonzalez. Yeah, Gonzalez. Uh,
Gonzalez.
yeah, remember?
Chocolatito?
Nah, I keep talking about him, bro. Chop from RBGA, from Robert Garcia's camp.
Chop Chop Gonzalez from the RGBA. I don't know who that is, bro.
Oh, bro, remember we seen him fight? Like he's pretty relentless. He's like a
Not
Virgil
Bam
Ortiz.
Rodriguez.
Not Bam, no. Chop. But yeah, dude, it's
Nah, I
just
gotta. Huh.
I'll let you. I'll show you. But yeah, he's a pretty good fighter. It's just he's not one dimensional, but he definitely isn't like like a boxer like that's trying to outbox you. He's like come forward kind of, yeah, he's a come forward fighter. But yeah, man, it's just Top Rank don't have that like a network, so it's kind of killing the shit right now. It's like right now, like there's a bunch of guys like I forget Shakur's cousin as well. You know what I'm talking about? Zador, I forget his name. Zaire, I forget
Oh
his name.
yeah, Zaire. Yeah, he has history with Carmel Moulton. Hey, talking
Yeah,
about guys like that, do you know your guy Amari Jones? He's actually signed with Golden Boy.
yeah, he signed with Golden Boy.
Yeah, Vince
Yeah,
Barrera, as in he goes. Barrera is good too. I wonder which
yeah.
Barrera. See, I've been out of the loop, bro, with boxing. Like man,
Amari,
I haven't really been paying attention, watching articles, reading articles, watching videos. I'm just out of it, bro. Like
Amari
I'm trying to
got
get back into it, bro. But little by little, just like when I hear some news, I'm like, no way he did that, and I just get deflated. I'm just like, I can't wake up and doing all of these errands, going to work or whoop de woo, and then coming back here and be like, oh, I want to talk boxing because there's so much like that fire for me right now. It's like not inspiring. Of course, Bud Crawford, Lester, and Billy, they did great. Brandon Adams did great too. So obviously, I got a little fire. Mexican boxing, everyone goes, you voted for Trump. You can't say nothing. Come on, bro.
mm,
Give me a pass, bro.
hey, but Amari,
Jr. Art Jr.
I was gonna say Amari's with Rick Merrigan, with the Reviews manager.
Ah,
But
nice.
yeah, so you got with him, and he got signed with him. But yeah, dude, it's just I forget what were we saying after that? Oh yeah.
We were talking about just like up and comers, and then
Yeah, it's just
fuck, I
not
don't
too
even
many.
remember.
Bro. It's just like who's next, bro? It's about to get fucking dark, bro. Like who the fuck? You know, sorry from the language, but it's like who's like that next dude up? Abdullah, you know, Abdullah Mason.
Yeah,
But it's
Abdullah.
just you
I
know,
wouldn't mind seeing Abdullah versus Carmel, but these guys don't pin their they don't pin their they don't pin prospects versus prospects at a really young age. They don't do that. You know what I mean? They get them to not even through title contender phase. It's like, oh, maybe champions, and maybe if we're lucky. Top Rank don't really pin their prospects like, you know. Vince Vargas
yeah.
goes Floyd Cashflow Diaz. Yeah, he's pretty good. I do want to see more of Angelo Leo, bro. I like
Oh, I
Angelo
know.
Leo. That
He's got
fight
the
versus
belt.
Bernardo Lopez. Woo! I wouldn't mind seeing Navarrete again. There was news that Navarrete was gonna fight this guy who had a fight in Mexico. Eddie Hearn promoted him. The Mexican fighter fought Christopher Diaz on the zone. Navarrete and this dude, I forgot the guy's name, but it was a pretty good fight. Mexican goes boxing everyone goes pendejo. Vete a la verge because he voted for Trump. Yeah, but your grandma also voted for Trump too. You know what I mean? So It's it's not the end of the world. Top
yeah.
like Mexican boxing #1. You want me to vote for Kamala Harris? And if you did, ask me why. Why should I have voted for her?
So,
Tell me one good thing that I should have voted for her.
she sucks good lollipops.
Name me one good policy. Name me one good thing that she did for the great state of California. Just name me one. Miss Rafael. Yeah, dude. Rafa Espinoza, that's a bad motherfucker. I would love to see Espinoza versus Navarrete. That'd be a badass fight. Vince goes, Top Rank has been missing in action. Yeah, man. They supposedly they're gonna be shown on Stars TV. um And I don't know. I haven't seen Stars Network in a really long time when I used to have Direct TV. And that's probably like 15 years ago. Ain't nobody had Direct TV. Like Comcast tried to hook you up with this, landline, internet, Direct TV deals. And you're like, honestly, I just watch apps. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't going to be on there. What Top Rank should have done, they should have made a deal with ProBox. Just blow up YouTube. That's what they should have been doing. I don't know why I know why they go to these network deals, because the networks give them a budget and they're not playing with in-house money, right? But it's like sometimes just make your own budget. Bob Arum is worth X amount of millions of dollars, bro. Like, put your money up. Pay the fighters what they not necessarily are worth. What they're worth. Pay them what they generate. You don't have to pay them no more, no less. And if there's upside, there's upside. You don't have to make pay-per-views $40 to $50. You can make pay-per-views $5, $10. You don't have to make these things so expensive. There's back-end money. Get the sponsorship deal. Try to land a local channel deal, NBC. You know what I mean? Like these boxers have to, and boxing promoters have to change up the game. In college football, there's this thing called name to image likeness. They call it the NIL. That means these guys can make millions of dollars being collegiate athletes. They no longer have to go to the NFL. Boxing should do the same thing to the amateurs. And if you're an amazing 7-year-old and you're already winning all these tournaments, let the 7-year-old get paid. They don't make some money, but they don't. It's in like U.S. boxing that they don't allow that. Why not? They should have an amateur app where USA Boxing has to have a GoPro, a bird's eye view in the corner of the ring, and record and upload all of these amateur fights and put them on an app service. Build profiles. High schools should have boxing as a sport. Colleges should have boxing as, a sport. That's how you popularize boxing. From kid, like they do in high school football. You televise high school football. You televise college football. Before they're already a pros, they already have a following. That's how you market these young bucks. So USA Boxing, you got to do better. Why don't you have a USA Boxing amateur app? Why don't you upload all of these fights? You already have regulation. You already have rings and judges and stuff like that. You have the fighters. You don't even have to train nobody. You're just a telecommunications operation. It's a simple shit. There's YouTube. You don't even have to create. You just have to just name it USA Boxing and upload all the best fights. And you follow these kids when they're kids all the way to high school, middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. By the time they're already pros, boom, you've already got them worked. They've already been working, getting paid. You know what I mean? And then you blow up the Olympic circuit and you try to make more gold medals in the United States. Like, I don't understand, bro. Like, there's that guy Jololov, right? Heavyweight that knocked out Rick Torres. At the age of 30, he went back to try to win another gold medal, and I think he won it. So I'm just like, why don't the pros here, like Shakur Stevenson, go back and try to win an Olympic gold medal? Lomachenko, when he won his Olympic gold medal in London in 2012, I think he was 22, 24 years old. You know what I mean? Fighting our 17, 16, 18-year-olds. these are adults beating on essentially little kids. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why we can't send. I think Manny Pacquiao even wanted to go represent Philippines. So I don't know, bro. I just feel like there's a lot of easy things to do to promote the sport of boxing that either these guys are just too lazy or they haven't thought about it, or maybe the money isn't there. But when you have guys like Turkey Ali Sheik, bro, just send that motherfucker an email and he'd be like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Vince Vargas goes, should bring back pros versus Joes. Put us in the ring. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, maybe not a pro versus a Joe, but a Joe versus a Joe. 60-year-old grandpa versus a 65-year-old grandpa. You know what I mean? My drunk Theo versus your drunk Theo. You know what I mean? Like, you can do stuff like that. Yeah, man, there's so many things that boxing can do just to have fun. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know how much fun it is to have a broken nose. I can tell you from fucking amateurs, it's not that fun. But, you know, you'd be like, oh, you want to criticize Canelo like I've been doing it all tough? You know, I can be like, well, fucking step into the ring. Let me see what you can do. I don't want to fight Terrence Bud Crawford either. But, you know, give me Bomac.
Nah. Yeah, man. It's just.
Nah,
It's a
I'm
lot.
just joking, bro. Bomac would probably lay me out, man. But on that note, guys, yo, Drew, you have any closing words, man? I'm kind of running out. Not of ideas to talk about. There's so much, but just
Nah.
I'm having a hard time controlling this cough.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking tired as fuck, bro. Um, yeah, there's nothing going on. I mean, I think I'm optimistic though. You know, I think something will happen hopefully, but it's just been too quiet lately, and hopefully it picks up because it feels kind of dark, you know, in the boxing streets, you know. But yeah, we'll see what's up, man.
Yeah, man. I wanna hit up Ruben. I'll probably hit him up soon and just be like, yo, Ruben, are you looking to make a comeback? And if he is, I wonder if he's gonna train with Robert Garcia. You know,
Mm,
because they used to go over there, right, for sparring. They
needs
used to
that.
spar Hector Tanahara and all these other guys, you know, Bam Rodriguez. So I'm kind of curious to see if he's getting. I know he's been training a little by little, but I'm kind of curious to see if he's back. Do we have another kid? My nephew used to spar him all the time. Medrano.
Mm. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think he's turning pro. I think he has actually a fight at the end of this month. And then
All right.
Robert Guerrero Jr. is doing pretty good, bro.
Mm.
So they actually fought, and I have some other fights in the amateurs, bro. So I'm actually pretty excited for those kids. And I think Justin the Stallion Cardona got back into the ring not too long ago, bro.
And I was watching that. I was
Uh,
watching that. I was like, oh damn, it's dude. I just happened to actually turn, you know, on the TV, and I was like, oh shit, that's him. You know.
yeah, no, bro. Like they're little by little. I think I saw a little bit of news. So hopefully, I'm glad that they're still pursuing it. Because you know, when you take a loss, when you're favored or you got a little bit of momentum, it's tough, bro. You know, it's like especially when you're starting up, you're training, cutting all these weight, 3-4 months just to get paid $500 for 3 months of work. It's below minimum wage. Below minimum wage. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're starting up, bro, you're doing it out of love, out of chasing dreams before you can even get to like $100,000. You probably need to be like 20-0 before you get your first 100,000, you know? And
I
then
know.
so like I can feel the pain of Ruben. Like, you know, Venado Lopez upsetted Gabe Flores. Then he upsetted like a lot of UK guys and he became a champion. And Ruben beating Venado Lopez, Ruben, you know, fighting all of these dudes, he had his title shot versus Navarrete, and it didn't look so good. And I was so like, not a shit on Navarrete because, you know, accidentally, and then it becomes like you're shitting on Ruben Villa. But I was like, Ruben, you're supposed to beat guys like Navarrete. You know, yes, he has power. Yes, he's taller. Yes, he has longer arms, but he doesn't have good technique. How could a 38-year-old and Dennis Berinchenk outbox Navarrete? Ruben, that's supposed to be you, my G. And when I was watching, I was like, no way, bro. No way in the second round you got hit by that little uppercut and it dropped you like that. Navarrete's got some big ass power that I like. Ruben, you ain't never felt before, but I'm like, you're supposed to box circles around this dude. And then the other guy that he fought, that black fighter from like, I don't know where he was from. He also gave Shushu Carrington a good fight. I was like, yeah, that guy's tough. The only a few fighters like Jermaine Ortiz knock him out, and those guys are 135, 140. Those are big guys, so I knew he was gonna be tough for Ruben. But I'm glad to see him training a little more. Even Superfly, when Superfly fought that kid on Pro Box, that was a tough fight for Superfly. It was a really one-sided beatdown. But I'm glad that these guys are still hanging tough. You know what I mean? But yeah, look, guys, I know I done talked a lot, and I'm sure you guys are really tired on a Friday night. Have a good night. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Vince, always a pleasure, brother. Vince goes, he's from Brazil. Yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta reach out to him, man. I wanna see if I can buy that signed signature card, because I have Canelo gloves. I have the no boxing, no live gloves, and I have Ruben via signature, and I bought some shirts off of them. But I wanna Conceição. Yeah, man. I just want to see. Yeah, there's a lot of movement. But on that note, fellas, have a good night. Vince, shout out to the Niners, baby. We about to go 3-0. Now, I don't want to jinx it, man. Arizona's pretty tough, and for some reason, they always have our number. But it ain't gonna happen. But yeah, Dream, Vince, Mexican Boxing 1, Adam, Warp Speed, the Mexican G, Zeke the Sneak. Guys, have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you guys in 6 months.
6 months?
Nah, hey, I don't know, bro.
He said 6 months.
All right, Drew. Have a good night, brother. Peace out, bro.
You too, man. Peace.